about, I mean, except for the other night because I just couldn't really sleep at all. I'm averaging about 3 hours, and it's not doing it, you know. I need to
I
get six to
understand.
really be able to function better, but it's really catching up to me. So, excuse me, I'm tired all the time. So I got some blood work done and I got a prescription and hopefully it'll help. We'll see what happens.
Maybe it will. Maybe it will.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see. I know that like sometimes when you use Mary Jane, and I don't use like flour, I use like different, I can't really talk about it on here, but you guys know. The gummy or the little vape, whatever.
Mhm.
Um I know that sometimes I can stop working after a while, but here comes Laura. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Laura.
Hello.
Hi, Lone Star. Hey, Swirly. Hi, Sandra. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. I noticed a lot of people are live. Like that's cool, but wow. Um, and I want to talk about a little something, something. How about these people? Listen, these people out here hating. It's, one thing I do read is I read comments, okay? And it's funny how now that people want something from me, they want me to unblock them. Hard fucking pass. I read comments and I see the fuckery that people do, and I see how they bandwagon jump if somebody had something to say about me in the past and they jump on that wagon too. I read comments and I block, 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 block. I don't even respond. I thanks for letting me know how you feel, and I'll just block you because people try to play in your face right after they talk shit about you. Mm-mm. I'm not that person. I'm just not that person. Hey, comment section CEO. But like, right, I love blocking too. And it's so funny. Hey, Allison. Hi, Grandma's babies. It's so funny how, and I'm not referring to one, I'm referring to a few people. Laura, it's so funny how like, oh, that person has me blocked. I want to listen to the motherfucker you blocked for a reason and you're going to stay blocked. I can't think of one person that I want to unblock. And why would they want to chill over here in my life if they have an issue with me or if they think something about me that's not true? Keep that energy because I will keep it, please. These people got me fucked up. Also, my language needs a content warning today because I am just like, I think it's because I'm tired. I'm just really abrasive today. Oh, excuse me for yawning. How was your day, Laura May? Ops behavior, right?
It's been raining off and on all damn day.
Has it?
Yeah.
We're supposed to get a lot of rain tomorrow, like stormy, stormy rain. Okay, Lone Star. Like really stormy, stormy rain. It was overcast today with like little peaks of sunshine, but man, is it humid. 94 and humid. So humid. But tomorrow, I believe is supposed to be much of the same, and all next week will be in the 90s, so we're facing another heat wave. Let me look and see what it's supposed to be tomorrow. Like it's 75 right now, but the humidity is 80%. It's hot. It's like soup outside.
It's
There's no
79.
wind. Is it? There's no wind
Mm.
moving. 80% humidity is absolutely disgusting. It's gross. And then tomorrow, what's it say for tomorrow? 89 and rain. Now, it did start to sprinkle when I was outside. I took my daughter's dog out. Oh, excuse me, I'm yawning again. I took my daughter's dog out and 'cause she's out. So the dog is with us. And it was just right. It's like it's gross. And you're making Christmas decorations. What are you making, Sandra? That's crazy. But it's um does anybody go ham like for Halloween? Did they are Lowe's and Home Depot and everybody doing halfway to Halloween? Because that's where my brain is. My brain is on Halloween. And usually they do like a big drop in summer, nutcrackers and quilts. That's so sweet. I know, Swirly. I'm not gonna yawn. Oh, oh my God. I was just downstairs for hours and didn't yawn. I come upstairs and I'm yawning.
My mom does that every time she gets on the phone with me. Every time. And we just go back and
Oh
forth because you
my.
know that shit's
It's
contagious.
contagious. Yes. Yes.
I'll be like, girl, you got to stop, damn it.
I know. I know. I have to keep my tea going too.
Well, tomorrow my baby turns 15.
What?
My
Woohoo!
baby
Happy
turns 15
birthday!
tomorrow.
Happy
15?
birthday, little
Yeah,
Cece.
turns 15.
Oh, happy birthday to her.
Yeah, we're gonna go eat at Jefferson's and go spend some money at the Ulta and go to Crumble and Sweet Frog
Oh, how nice.
and my oldest and her husband's gonna come and they're gonna swim and they're gonna take her to the drive-in.
That's good. No, that's so nice going to the drive-in. That's
Yeah.
really sweet.
She said, "Are you going?"
Sandra said I put up 9 full-size trees, so I start planting in June. Girl, I used to
Oh
do that.
wow.
And
I'd be
now I
good to get
do, I
one up.
think 3 full-size trees, and then I do a bunch of like medium and small throughout the house. But I still do the 3 full-size ones.
Thank you. We normally put up a real tree, but I don't think I'm getting a real one this year. I think we're just
Mm.
going to get a artificial tree.
Do you have it yet?
No,
Mm-mm.
I last year she wanted to get I think she wanted one of those pink trees with the lights already on it.
Oh yeah.
But her dad was like, "No, I'll take y'all and I'll cut the tree down like we always do. It doesn't matter that we're not together anymore. We'll still do that." And so we went and cut her tree down. But I don't think I want to do that this year. I think we'll just go ahead and go with the artificial.
Yeah. Hey, Joyful. Hi, Kendra. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I like to have one real tree and the rest are artificial. But it's become a lot to do the real tree without like the kids here. You know what I mean? Like it's just a lot without help. I mean, we're not that old, but you know, it's just a
Hmm.
lot.
It
I have a
is.
cat rubbing on me, so you guys might hear purring. She's really all about me right now. Hi, Mama. Hello, Mama. You're so beautiful. Hello, Mommy girl. You're so pretty. You're so pretty. Hey, Yankee. Thank you for the heart, me. Hello, sweet girl. Hello. Oh, you're so beautiful, you little old lady. She's 14 and a half.
Oh, wow.
She's a little old lady. She's a grumpy old lady, too. And so is her daughter. But she's the one I told you about. She lives in our room, like our master suite. But it's so big in here, and she lives her best life. She doesn't like other cats. But she didn't decide that until like 5 years ago that she doesn't like other cats. Um, Maybe it's been 4 years, not 5. And she had to be put up here. Now we have her daughter downstairs, and they don't even like each other. Maria Estrella, you watched our live. 300 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's cool. I added a sticker for you. That's really cool. Um, should we bust open our panel for other people to join, or should we just let it ride?
You can if you
Hi,
want
mommy.
to.
What do you guys want? I gotta remember how to do this mess too. Dum, dum, dum. Can you hear her purring? I guess not.
Mm-mm.
I'm shocked because you guys can hear the weirdest shit sometimes. Like if a trickle of water, like if I rinse my hands, are like, Pam always has water running. What? Let me see here. I don't even know if I know how to do that. It's funny because in your live last night, I was able to do it. I figured it out real quick. Let's see. Oh my God, she's so loud, you guys. I'm glad you can't hear her. Hi, Mama. Hi, Mama. What you doing? What you want? Hi, Mommy. Okay, you have to let me be sometimes. I'll pet you in a little bit. Nope, I don't know how to do it. It's weird. Oh, wait, maybe it's under here. Well, the good thing is people can still request and then we could just let them up because I don't know what I'm doing here.
I don't know how to work it either. I don't go live
I don't
enough.
know. It's weird. And I'm on my right, and I'm on my iPad, so I don't know.
I thought Mimi said last night to go to the little two people and it would change your grid.
Yeah, I'm looking on there and I don't see it though. There's like three buttons under the two people. Um,
I have no idea.
I know I don't either. It's annoying. Oh, I found it. Let's see. How would we like it? Oh, check it out. I can do it where um it doesn't show the available spots. Like I could have the grid available. How cool is that? But it won't show the available spots. But as people join, we'll just get smaller. Look at that pretty baby, Laura May. Oh, I don't like this one. I can't see the chat. Ooh,
You
gotta
can't
fix
see
that
it. We
one.
can see it.
It's really hard to see. It's like really, really small at the bottom of my screen. That's better. I'll just like leave it off to the side. Let me see if I can show. Um, I just want to be able to see the chat. Let's see what this looks like. Now, see, I can only see two comments
I can
if
see
I
a
leave it
lot.
like this. Can you really?
Mhm.
Let's see what this
There's
one
about
looks
8
like.
of them.
Oh, I like this one. Do you guys like this one? I like this one.
That'll work.
Now, with it like this, I could see one, two, three, four, five, six comments.
I see
Ha-
5.
Do you?
Mhm.
That's funny. I wonder why
But
it's
it's
like that.
okay. It's alright.
Yeah, this works. Hi, Michelle. Oh no, she's not here. It says invite. Okay. I'm just gonna leave it alone. Hey, Yankee. Okay, are you guys ready to get started? If people want to come, they'll come. If they don't want to come, they don't come. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I waited a few minutes for people to get in, but it's 9:45, so we gonna roll on. So we are at chapter 5. Can I just Hi, Rebecca. Thank you for joining us. Hello to everybody. If I missed anybody, I'm very sorry. I'm really happy that you're all here. I know this can be New Orleans lady. Hey girl. Um, if anybody would like to be on panel, you are welcome. My sweet ladies up here will happily add you if you're somebody that we know. We do not let strangers on panel for obvious reasons, but there's no strangers in here, so let's why is it making me do this? It made me set a flash goal. It wouldn't the button will not, and now it won't go off the bottom of my screen. Okay, whatever. This is so annoying. Why does it do this to me? Oh, thank you. Nope. All kinds of shit is popping up on my screen. All right, go away now. Go away. Go away. How do I make this bar go away? Oh, check it out. Oh, I like this. Okay. I swipe to the right so I can see my whole screen and it's all comments, but I will be reading, okay? So I'm not really reading the comments. So anybody can let me know if there's something I should see, Laura and Cece and anybody else
Hmm.
who chooses to join the panel. Just let me know if there's something I should look at or whatever. And
Yeah, just
thank you
show
all for
tap the
being here.
screen. Tap the screen and
Yes.
send heart me's if you can to help protect the live.
Thank you, ma'am. Um, if I was set to 18 and over last time, will it keep that setting or do I have to make it 18 and over every time I go live?
I don't know. I wondered that myself because I had mine set to 18 plus
Yeah,
last night. So I don't know if it keeps it that way once you set it that way or not.
I hope so, but let me see if I can see it.
Yeah, check your settings and see if it shows it was set again.
It doesn't show me here under settings. And just because of language, I want to be careful, but we'll wing it.
Okay.
Okay. Chapter 5 is called Fame After Blood. When Gypsy Rose Blanchard walked out of prison on December 28th, 2023, she did not step quietly into private life. She stepped into an audience. The cameras were already waiting. The interviews were already lined up. The public already knew her face, her voice, her version of events, and the shape of the story she had spent years telling from behind prison walls. For most convicted people, release means rebuilding in silence. For Gypsy, release became a launch. Within days, she was not simply a woman who had served time for her role in her mother's murder. She was a personality, a brand, a social media figure, a headline machine. This is what makes the aftermath so disturbing. Dee Dee Blanchard was dead. Nicholas Godejohn was serving life in prison. The little pink house had become part of true crime folklore. Yet the surviving daughter at the center of the case moved almost immediately into interviews, social platforms, book promotion, television specials, reality programming, and viral online attention. The timing alone is hard to ignore. While still connected to the prison system and preparing for release, Gypsy announced an ebook titled Released: Conversations on the Eve of Freedom. After release, she also moved toward a full memoir, My Time to Stand, scheduled for publication through Ben Bella Books with an audio edition recorded by Recorded Books. In publishing terms, this was not casual reflection. It was a commercial product built around a murder case, a prison sentence, and the public fascination surrounding both. The exact amount Gypsy received from book deals has not been publicly confirmed. That matters. No responsible writer should invent a number and present it as fact. But the earning potential is obvious. A public figure with millions of followers, national media attention, a Lifetime series, viral name recognition, and an already famous criminal case can earn money in several ways at once. Book advances, audio rights, television participation, interview opportunities, social media monetization, sponsorships, appearance fees, affiliate links, and creator revenue can all become part of the same machine. Even modest estimates become significant. If a memoir sold 50,000 copies at a retail price of around $28, that would represent $1.4 million in gross retail sales. If the author's royalty averaged 10% of retail, that would be about $140,000 before agent fees, taxes, and any division with co-writers or publishers. If it sold 100,000 copies, the same rough model would suggest around $280,000 in potential author royalty. If it sold 200,000 copies, the figure could approach $560,000. Those numbers are not confirmed earnings. They are only a basic publishing estimate to show why a famous true crime memoir can become financially powerful very quickly. That is before social media. At one point after her release, Gypsy's Instagram following was reported in the millions, with public summaries placing it at about 7.8 million before she deleted accounts during a short retreat from the spotlight. Other reports described her gaining major followings across TikTok, Instagram, X, and Snapchat. Even if creator fund payments are often small, brand deals and sponsor posts can be far more lucrative for accounts with massive reach. A creator with millions of followers can potentially charge thousands or tens of thousands of dollars for a sponsored post, depending on engagement, platform, audience, and brand fit. Again, the exact numbers are not public, but the possibility is the point. A homicide became a platform. A dead woman became the backstory, and the author who helped arrange her murder became marketable. There is something morally nauseating about that. It is not simply that Gypsy had social media accounts. People leaving prison are allowed to speak, work, write, and rebuild. The issue is the tone. The issue is the speed. The issue is the way a case involving the stabbing death of her own mother was absorbed into influencer culture with astonishing ease. TikTok dances, get ready with me videos, food tasting clips, trend participation, relationship drama, comment replies, beauty content, soft lighting, playful captions, smiling camera angles, viral sounds. The whole thing began to feel less like reintegration and more like performance. For some viewers, Gypsy's online persona seemed strangely childish. That alone might not be remarkable given her unusual life history, developmental issues, and years in prison. But paired with the subject matter of her fame, the effect became unsettling. She was not famous for music. She was not famous for comedy. She was not famous for acting. She was famous because her mother was murdered and because she pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. That is the fact every trend has to sit beside. A dance is not just a dance when the person dancing became famous through matricide. A joke is not a joke when the punchline keeps circling back to a dead mother. A casual video is not just casual when the audience includes people who treat a homicide case like fandom. Then came the TikTok controversy that made many people stop pretending nothing was wrong. In March 2026, Gypsy appeared in a video connected to the We Listen and We Don't Judge trend with an influencer, Natalie Reynolds. Reporting described the video as referencing the killing of Dee Dee. In the clip, Gypsy was criticized for making a joke about the crime, with public backlash calling it sick and disturbing. Entertainment Weekly reported that she later responded by saying, "It wasn't received like we wanted." That response says a lot. Not because every person must grieve publicly in the same way, not because people who have endured complicated trauma are forbidden from dark humor, but because Dee Dee was not an abstract subject. Dee Dee was her mother. Dee Dee was the woman found dead in bed. Dee Dee was the victim in the crime Gypsy admittedly helping commit. Admitted helping commit. To joke publicly about killing your mother is not merely poor taste. It is chilling. And for many people who had once supported Gypsy, that moment cracked the image completely. The woman they had been told was remorseful, healing, and trying to use her platform responsibly appeared instead to be playing with the very act that ended Dee Dee's life. There is no way to make that dignified. This is where the reader has to ask what remorse is supposed to look like. It does not have to look like permanent silence. It does not have to look like self-hatred. It does not have to mean never smiling again. But surely it should involve some visible awareness that another human being lost her life. Surely it should involve restraint. Surely it should involve the understanding that a murdered mother is not material for trends. Dee Dee cannot make a TikTok. Dee Dee cannot write a memoir. Dee Dee cannot go live, tell her side, correct the record, cry for the camera, or explain what she felt in the final years of her life. Gypsy can, and she has. That imbalance is a central cruelty of the aftermath. The dead mother is silent. The daughter who helped plan the murder controls the microphone. Her relationships became content too. While still in prison, Gypsy married Ryan Scott Anderson in July 2022. Public reporting describes Ryan as a Louisiana special education teacher who began writing to her while she was incarcerated. After her release, the marriage became part of the public spectacle. Cameras followed, interviews followed, online commentary followed. Then, only a few months later, after the release, the marriage collapsed. By April 2024, Gypsy had filed for divorce. By the end of that year, the divorce was finalized. Ryan became another character in the expanding show. The public watched him move from husband to obstacle to ex-husband as Gypsy's story shifted again. Soon, attention turned to Ken Urker, a former prison pen pal and ex-fiancé with whom Gypsy reconnected after separating from Ryan. Public reports later confirmed that Gypsy and Ken were expecting a child together. This kind of rapid emotional movement may be explainable in many ways. Prison relationships are strange. Fame distorts everything. People leaving confinement often struggle with identity and stability, but from the outside, the pattern still looked chaotic and self-serving. Men appeared, disappeared, reappeared, and became part of the storyline. The relationships fed the drama, and the drama fed the attention. Ryan, in particular, seemed to become useful until he was not. That is not a legal conclusion. It is a public interpretation many viewers reached while watching the post-prison spectacle unfold. He had written to her in prison, married her while she was incarcerated, stood beside her after her release, and then almost immediately became part of a messy public breakup. In a quieter life, that might have remained private pain. In Gypsy's world, it became content. That world keeps returning. I'm sorry, that word keeps returning. Content. The murder was content. The release was content. The marriage was content. The divorce was content. The pregnancy was content. The apology videos were content. The backlash was content. Even criticism seemed to keep the machine alive. And social media rewarded it. That is why the childishness of some videos matters. The dances, trends, food clips, makeup videos, and casual influencer formats do not exist in isolation. They exist on platforms where young viewers are present and where personality becomes product. When a person known for a murder case, uses playful trends, innuendo, relationship drama, and soft influencer aesthetics to build attention, the audience can easily include teenagers and children who are not equipped to understand the moral gravity of the case. That is deeply concerning. I'd like to read that brief paragraph again. That's me saying that. I'm not reading that from the book. I just want to read that again. That is why the childishness of some videos matters. The dances, trends, food clips, makeup videos, and casual influencer formats do not exist in isolation. They exist on platforms where young viewers are present and where personality becomes product. When a person known for a murder case uses playful trends, innuendo, relationship drama, and soft influencer aesthetics to build attention, the audience can easily include teenagers and children who are not equipped to understand the moral gravity of the case. Wow, y'all. Wow.
He nailed it, didn't he?
He sure did. That is deeply concerning. Not because Gypsy is responsible for every person who watches her videos, but because she knows why she is famous. She knows the origin of the attention. She knows her name is tied to the death of Claudine D.D. Blanchard. The more she packages herself like a fun, quirky online personality, the easier it becomes for younger viewers to forget what made her famous in the first place. That is how true crime becomes fandom. The victim disappears. The convicted person becomes relatable. The algorithm replaces grief with engagement. And Dee Dee Blanchard, once again, is reduced to the obstacle in someone else's redemption story. The saddest part is not only that Gypsy built a public life after prison, it is that the public allowed the life to be built on Dee Dee's grave while still insisting Dee Dee was the only manipulator in the story. Damn, y'all. The saddest part is not only that Gypsy built a public life after prison, it is that the public allowed the life to be built on Dee Dee's grave while still insisting Dee Dee was the only manipulator in the story.
Boom.
Fucking mic drop. Damn.
He boomed it.
Look at the pattern. Gypsy participated in a murder plot. Gypsy accepted a plea deal. Gypsy left prison to national attention. Gypsy promoted books. Gypsy appeared in television projects. Gypsy built enormous social media followings. Gypsy entered and exited relationships in public view. Gypsy joined trends. Gypsy made jokes that many people understood as references to killing her mother. And through it all, Dee Dee remained the one person people were encouraged to hate. That is not justice, that is branding. A mother was stabbed to death in her sleep. Her daughter became famous. The public bought the story, watched the shows, followed the accounts, clicked the clips, debated the men, judged the outfits, tracked the pregnancy, and turned the homicide into an entertainment universe. This chapter is not arguing that Gypsy should never speak. It is arguing that what she has done with the microphone deserves scrutiny. Because remorse is not proven by saying the right words in a controlled interview. Remorse is revealed in patterns, in restraint, in dignity, in what a person refuses to monetize, and what a person refuses to joke about, and whether the dead are treated as human beings or as plot devices. Dee Dee Blanchard had no chance to become a brand. She had no chance to explain herself after death. She had no chance to defend her medical decisions, her fears, her mistakes, or her love. Gypsy did. And instead of stepping carefully, quietly, and humbly around the memory of the woman whose death made her famous, she stepped into the algorithm. That may be legal, it may even be profitable, but it is not beautiful, and it is not remorse. Wow, y'all. Wow. Hey, Hannah. Yo, I'm getting pissed off. I'm getting fired up, man. Now, because I knew that's right, New Orleans lady, I'll continue to speak up for Dee Dee too. Oh my goodness, you guys, you guys. He did very, very well writing this. That is the end of chapter 5. I'm scrolling up. I want to say hi to everybody who came in while I was reading. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you. Thank you for the taps and the love. I greatly appreciate it. Ooh, I need a sip of tea on that one. It's got me fired up. Chapter 6 is titled Romance as Performance. Gypsy Rose Blanchard's relationships did not remain private after prison. They became part of the product. The public watched her leave prison as a married woman. It watched her stand beside Ryan Anderson. It watched the smiling photos, the interviews, the awkward closeness, the sudden distance, the separation, the divorce, and then the return of another man from her past. In any ordinary life, a failed marriage and a new relationship might be painful but private. In Gypsy's case, it became another storyline attached to the death of her mother. That is what makes this pattern so hard to ignore. Ryan Anderson entered the story while Gypsy was incarcerated. He wrote to her in prison. He married her in 2022 while she was still serving her sentence for second-degree murder. When she was released in December 2023, he was there as the husband, the man waiting outside the prison years after the crime that made her famous. For a brief moment, he looked like part of Gypsy's reinvention. Then he became part of the mess. Only months after her release, the marriage collapsed publicly. Gypsy moved back in with family, announced a separation, and filed for divorce. Soon after, attention turned toward Ken Urker, a former prison pen pal and ex-fiancé with whom she had reconnected. The transition was fast enough to unsettle many viewers. It was not simply a woman leaving an unhappy marriage. It was a convicted daughter at the center of a famous murder case, moving through relationships under cameras, headlines, comments, and reality television editing. Ryan became useful until he was not. That is not a legal statement. It is an interpretation of the public pattern. He wrote to her in prison. He married her before release. He became part of the post-prison story. Then almost immediately, he became the ex-husband in a new chapter built around another man. The drama did not slow down. It grew. Ken Urker had also entered Gypsy's life through prison correspondence. He and Gypsy had been engaged before, split, and later reconnected after her separation from Ryan. Public reporting later confirmed that Gypsy and Ken were also expecting a child together. Their daughter, allegedly, Aurora, was born in December 2024. By then, Gypsy's private life had become a rolling public spectacle. Marriage, separation, divorce, reconnection, pregnancy, paternity headlines, reality television, social media updates, public statements, fan debate, critics, supporters, comment sections. Everything fed the machine. The paternity issue became another headline. Because Louisiana law can presume a husband to be the legal father of a child born within a certain period around divorce, Gypsy took a pre-birth paternity test to show Ken was the father. In a quiet life, that might have been handled privately with lawyers. In Gypsy's world, it became another piece of public content, another update, another conversation, another reason for people to keep watching. That is the strange rhythm of her post-prison life. Nothing seems allowed to stay still. The problem is not that Gypsy has relationships. The problem is the way those relationships become entertainment, while Dee Dee remains voiceless in the background of the fame that made all of it possible. Gypsy's romantic life is not famous because she is an actress, musician, athlete, or artist. It is famous because her mother was murdered and because Gypsy pleaded guilty for her part in that killing. That fact should make everything quieter. Instead, it has made everything louder. Her online persona has also raised concerns because so much of it seems designed for attention through intimacy, innuendo, flirtation, and performance. The public has seen her lean into beauty content, relationship drama, playful captions, suggestive humor, and reality style emotional confession. Some of it would be unremarkable from a normal influencer. From Gypsy, it lands differently because her platform was built on a homicide. That is not moral nitpicking, it is context. A person made famous through the murder of her mother cannot simply behave like every other influencer without that shadow of crime following every clip. A flirtatious joke is not just a flirtatious joke when the person making it first became famous through a case involving manipulation, secret online relationships, violent role play, and a planned killing. A relationship update is not just a relationship update when it is sold to an audience that first gathered around a dead woman. The older evidence makes the modern persona even more disturbing. Before the murder, Gypsy and Nicholas Godejohn's relationship included online role play, fantasy identities, sexualized videos, and discussions that prosecutors later used to show planning, influence, and intent. More than 100 videos reportedly exchanged between Gypsy and Godejohn later became part of renewed public scrutiny after release through FOIA-related discussion and podcast coverage. One, Nicholas Godejohn was later described in court and appeal-related reporting as autistic, socially limited, and psychologically vulnerable. His defense argued that Gypsy's role-play videos and messages influenced him. He was not absolved. He was convicted and sentenced to life. But his vulnerabilities still matter when examining Gypsy's pattern with men. The public image often cast Gypsy as someone acted upon by others. The record reportedly shows her acting on others. With Nicholas, she participated in a secret relationship that grew into murder planning. With Ryan, she married from prison and entered release with a ready-made husband beside her. With Ken, she returned to an old prison romance almost immediately after the marriage with Ryan collapsed. Again and again, men appear inside her story as emotional supports, plot devices, protectors, or public partners. And each time, the story continues to center Gypsy. Dee Dee disappears further. That is the cruelty of the spectacle. Dee Dee is the reason the public knows these names, but she is not allowed to participate in the conversation. She cannot speak about Nicholas. She cannot speak about Ryan. She cannot speak about Ken. She cannot speak about the videos, the fantasies, the relationship secrecy, the lies, the planning, or the daughter now being raised in the glare of the same fame that grew from her death. She is only the dead mother. Gypsy is the continuing series. The relationship saga also raises a larger concern about audience. Gypsy's social media presence includes the kind of playful, trendy, sometimes childish content that easily reaches younger viewers. TikTok dances, casual videos, beauty posts, relationship clips, baby updates, and soft influencer content are formats consumed heavily by teenagers and children. When those formats are used by someone famous because of a matricide case, the moral lines blur quickly. Young viewers may not understand the weight of the crime. They may only see a quirky woman with drama, makeup, boyfriends, baby content, and a tragic backstory. That is dangerous. It turns homicide into personality content. It turns a guilty plea into a brand origin story. It turns Dee Dee Blanchard into the dark chapter Gypsy gets to overcome on camera. And now that Gypsy has a daughter, the questions become even more sensitive. A child should not be punished for the actions of a parent. Aurora deserves privacy, safety, and a life not defined by internet obsession. But the public circumstances around her birth are already tied to fame, paternity headlines, reality television, and a mother whose past includes a deeply disturbing alleged statements about a hypothetical daughter in the context of sexualized role play. That is not something serious readers can ignore. That is not hate to ask whether the public should be more cautious. It is not cruelty to say a convicted person who helped plan her mother's murder should not be treated as harmless entertainment. It is not unfair to ask whether Gypsy's constant performance, relationship chaos, and willingness to convert intimate life into content reveal something troubling about her relationship to attention. Because attention has been present from the beginning. Attention through illness, attention through charity, attention through secret relationships, attention through the murder case, attention through prison interviews, attention through release, attention through men, attention through pregnancy, attention through motherhood, attention through backlash. It's a pattern, and patterns matter. Dee Dee Blanchard's name is often dragged through the mud as if every strange or unhealthy thing in the story began and ended with her. But Gypsy's own adult behavior deserves scrutiny too. Her post-prison life did not show a quiet woman overcome with remorse and determined to live carefully outside of the spotlight. It showed someone stepping repeatedly into the brightest possible light, bringing her romances, body, jokes, pregnancy, and conflicts with her. The result is deeply uncomfortable. A murdered mother remains silent. Her daughter dances through the algorithm. Her relationships become plot lines. Her child becomes public fascination. Her old role play videos resurface with language so disturbing it should make every viewer stop cold. And somehow, the public is still asked to see Dee Dee as the only dangerous woman in the story. That is not balance. That is branding. Wow. Wow, man.
This is great. I am so loving this.
Me too.
Oh, I want to live in this author's head. He wrote this very, very well. It is very well written.
Yes.
It is it's really bringing up a lot of emotion for me. And right now the predominant emotion is anger. I'm feeling angry. I don't get angry. I get annoyed and frustrated and irritated and pissed off. I don't get angry. I'm finding myself twisting my bracelet as I'm reading, and I'm pissed. Oh, really, Yankee? That sucks. Yeah, New Orleans lady. Yeah. Hi, Vanilla Chobani. Okay, before I start going off on a fucking tangent, we're gonna start chapter 7. The story she hid in plain sight is the title of chapter 7. One of the hardest parts of the Blanchard case is not simply what Gypsy Rose Blanchard said after Dee Dee was dead. It is what she knew before. For years, the public was encouraged to picture Gypsy as someone with almost no control over her own life. She was presented as childlike, trapped, isolated, medically helpless, and unaware of the world beyond her mother. That image became one of the emotional foundations of the case. If Gypsy was helpless, then Dee Dee became absolute. If Dee Dee was absolute, then every lie became Dee Dee's lie. Every performance became Dee Dee's performance. Every medical contradiction became Dee Dee's fault alone. But the records and public reporting suggest something even more complicated. Gypsy knew she could walk. Gypsy knew she could eat solid food. Gypsy had secret online relationships. Gypsy had hidden accounts. Gypsy met men without Dee Dee's knowledge. Gypsy maintained private lives while publicly allowing the world to see her as far more helpless than she actually was. That does not mean Dee Dee made no mistakes. It does not mean the home was healthy. It does not mean every medical decision was perfect. But it does make the simple public story harder to accept. Because Gypsy was not merely being seen, she was also performing. The doctor most often connected to the medical doubts in this case is Dr. Bernardo Flasterstein, a pediatric neurologist in Springfield. In 2007, he examined Gypsy and became suspicious of the muscular dystrophy story. He ordered testing, including MRIs and blood work, and the results did not support the diagnosis Dee Dee reportedly described. After observing Gypsy stand and support her own weight, he told Dee Dee, "I don't see any reason why she doesn't walk." That quote has often been used against Dee Dee, but there is another way to read it. If Gypsy could stand and support herself, oh, hold on, I gotta do a puzzle. If Gypsy could stand and support herself in front of a doctor, then Gypsy was not completely unaware of the performance. She knew what her body could do. Later reporting stated that Gypsy herself acknowledged she knew she could walk and eat solid food, even while continuing with the public image of severe illness. That matters. It matters because the mainstream version depends heavily on Gypsy being passive, a child in a chair, a girl without agency, a daughter so controlled that she had no meaningful role in the story until she escaped through murder. But knowing you can walk is not nothing. Knowing you can eat is not nothing. Maintaining the opposite impression in public is not nothing. There are also disputed medical record claims circulating in FOIA communities that doctors suspected Gypsy of not fully cooperating with certain tests, including hearing-related evaluations. This book does not state those claims as fact without the original medical notes. But if those were records included in the final source file, they deserve serious attention because they would support a larger pattern already visible elsewhere. Gypsy's public helplessness did not always match private reality. The verified pattern is already troubling enough. Gypsy's own later statements complicate her image. She told BuzzFeed she believed Dee Dee's claim that she had cancer, but the same reporting also summarized that she knew she could walk and eat solid food. That is the contradiction at the heart of the case. She may have believed some things. She may have also known others were false. Both can be true. And if both are true, then Dee Dee should not be made to carry every deception alone. The public also heard constantly that Dee Dee isolated Gypsy from the world. But Gypsy's own actions show repeated private access to people beyond her mother. She used the internet. She created hidden accounts. She entered online relationships. She met men. She developed fantasy identities. She later built the relationship with Nicholas Godejohn that would end with Dee Dee being stabbed to death in her bed. That is not isolation in the absolute sense people were sold. That is concealment. That is concealment. The 2011 Science Fiction Convention incident is one of the clearest examples. Public summaries describe Gypsy meeting a man named Dan online and arranging to meet him at a convention. Accounts differ about details, but the core event is consistent. Gypsy was found with an adult man after trying to connect with him outside Dee Dee's supervision. Some accounts describe the man as being around 35. Other online claims describe Gypsy pursuing older men in their 40s or 50s, but those broader claims need direct source documents before they could be stated as fact. The documented Dan incident is enough. It shows Gypsy was not simply sitting in a house with no access to the outside world. She was online. She was seeking men. She was arranging contact. She was experimenting with identity, sexuality, escape, and secrecy. And Dee Dee, in that moment, became the villain again. The public version says Dee Dee stopped Gypsy from having a normal relationship. But there is another uncomfortable fact. If Dee Dee believed Gypsy was developmentally vulnerable, medically complicated, or emotionally immature, then finding her with a grown man would not simply look like romance. It would look like danger. A mother walking into that situation might panic. A mother might overreact. A mother might become controlling. A mother might also be trying to protect her daughter from men who should have known better. That possibly rarely receives sympathy. I'm sorry, that possibility rarely receives sympathy. It should. Because Dee Dee was raising a daughter whose age, capacity, medical needs, and behavior were all tangled in ways outsiders barely understood. If Gypsy was secretly contacting older men, then Dee Dee's protectiveness may not have been simple cruelty. It may have been fear. Fear of exploitation, fear of losing control, fear of men taking advantage, fear of a daughter who is far more capable of secrecy than the public later wanted to admit. That same pattern continued with Nicholas Godejohn. Gypsy met him through a Christian dating site. Their relationship developed online over years. It included role play, fantasy personas, sexualized communication, and eventually discussion of murder. Court summaries and public reporting state that Godejohn traveled to Missouri after Gypsy sent him money for transportation, that Gypsy let him into the house, and that she gave him materials including gloves and a knife. That is not the behavior of someone with no capacity to plan. It is the behavior of someone living two lives. One life was the public life, the wheelchair, the childlike voice, the charity image, the fragile daughter, the sweet girl beside her devoted mother. The other life was hidden: men, messages, accounts, fantasies, plans, and lies. Dee Dee saw pieces of that hidden life, and according to the public story, responded with control. But what if some of that control was not born from pure malice? What if some of it came from watching Gypsy lie, sneak, manipulate, and disappear into situations Dee Dee did not understand and could not safely manage? This does not erase questions about Dee Dee. It widens the frame. Because a mother can be flawed and still frightened for a reason. A daughter can be vulnerable and still deceptive. A relationship can be unhealthy without making murder understandable. This is what the public narrative often refuses to hold. There are also claims from FOIA discussion communities that Dee Dee was not always blocking Gypsy from age-appropriate relationships and may have encouraged certain appropriate male friends or boyfriends to visit, spend time with Gypsy, or even join in on family activities. Those claims need direct publication of the relevant materials or records before I can formally prove them. But if accurate, they would seriously challenge one of the most repeated ideas in the case, that Dee Dee wanted Gypsy completely isolated from all romantic or social contact. This book should include these records when they are obtained. But the question is important. Was Dee Dee stopping all relationships, or was she objecting to dangerous ones? Was she controlling every contact, or trying to manage a daughter who was secretly seeking older men, hiding accounts, and lying about her life? Those are not the same thing. The difference matters. It matters because Dee Dee has been judged mostly through Gypsy's surviving version. Gypsy lived to explain herself. Gypsy lived to say what Dee Dee did. Gypsy lived to sit in interviews, write books, appear in documentaries, and frame her mother's behavior as abuse. Dee Dee did not live to explain what she found on computers. Dee Dee did not live to explain what she feared about Dan. She did not live to explain what she knew about Nicholas. She did not live to explain whether she had discovered lies, accounts, messages, or men before the murder. She did not live to explain whether she believed her daughter was being exploited. She did not live to explain whether she had ever tried to allow appropriate relationships while drawing a line at unsafe ones. She was silenced, and silence is useful to the person still speaking. That is the grief inside this chapter. Not only that Dee Dee died, but that her death allowed other people to narrate her motives without resistance. The world was told Dee Dee hid Gypsy from life, but Gypsy had a hidden life. The world was told Dee Dee lied, but Gypsy lied too. The world was told Dee Dee controlled everything, but Gypsy was moving through secret digital spaces, secret romantic relationships, and eventually a murder plot her mother did not survive. The more closely the evidence is examined, the less Dee Dee looks like a cartoon monster, and the more she looks like a woman trapped inside a terrifying relationship with a daughter she could not fully understand, fully control, or fully trust. That is a painful possibility. It is also one the public should not dismiss, simply because the alternative story feels cleaner. There is a reason Gypsy's later behavior matters. Her post-prison life has shown continued performance, public contradiction, drama, attention-seeking, and shifting narratives. That does not prove every old accusation, but it makes it harder to treat her as perfectly reliable narrator of Dee Dee's life. A person who lies in one era may lie in another. A person who performs helplessness in public may perform remorse in public. A person who secretly maintained relationships while presenting herself as a childlike dependent may also understand how to shape sympathy. This is not diagnosis. This is pattern, and patterns matter in true crime. Dee Dee Blanchard may have made mistakes. She may have been controlling. She may have mishandled parts of Gypsy's medical and emotional life. But the evidence of Gypsy's hidden behavior complicates every single accusation made against her mother. Because if Gypsy knew more than she admitted, did more than she revealed, and hid more than the public was told, then Dee Dee was not merely the author of a deception. She may have also been its victim. Damn. Wow. That is the end of chapter 7. Wow. How's everybody doing?
I'm good.
I'm
He's got
so irritated. I feel like I'm going to be up all night making content.
he's got powerful words in that.
He has a very wonderful way with very simple words that are easy to read, easy to process, easy to absorb the context of what he's saying. I know,
Yes.
Rebecca, I feel heavy too. I'm teary, but I'm not crying, and I can't figure out. I think it might be sadness and anger combined. I had to catch my breath a couple times. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I like that statement. I feel like Dee Dee touched his soul in some way, as
Yeah,
she
I
has
like
many of
I like
us.
I like his words. He's saying it everything that everyone is thinking.
Yeah. And he
It
puts it into words easier than a lot of us can because we get emotionally caught up with the anger and the sadness and the anger at her audacity. You know, like I'm a person, I have a difficult time acting on something without emotion. I'm not that way. I'm just not that person, you know.
And it came from somebody that doesn't have the backlash like we have
Mhm.
from the stands that support Gypsy. Because honestly, they didn't know anything about him. They didn't even know he exists till now.
Nope.
Right.
Nope. I think I'm gonna like this chapter. I hope I do. My heart needs a little bit of a break. So this next chapter is chapter 8, The Woman Before the Accusations. Now, I haven't read chapter 8 ahead of time. I did read 5 and 6. I did not read 7. So, 7 was new to me and 8 will be new to me as well. Chapter 8, The Woman Before the Accusations. Long before the world knew Claudine Didi Blanchard as a villain, she was a girl from Louisiana. That part of the story is usually treated as background. A few lines, a date of birth, a hometown, a family tree, then the narrative hurries forward to the accusations, the wheelchair, the doctors, the murder, the documentaries, and the prison interviews. But Didi did not begin as a headline. She began as Claudine Petrie, born on May 3rd, 1967, in Shack Bay, Louisiana, and raised in nearby Golden Meadow. She was one of several children born to Claude Anthony Petrie Sr. and Emma Lois ooh, something Petrie. I don't know how to say that word. The public record about her childhood is thin, and that matters. It means much of what people think they know about Didi's early life comes not from diaries, school records, therapists, police files, or Didi herself, but from people speaking about her after she was already dead. That is not a small problem. A dead woman cannot correct a memory. She cannot say that's not how it happened. She cannot point to what was left out. She cannot explain what it felt like to grow up in that house, what she feared, what she feared, what she carried, what was expected of her, or what kind of girl she had been before everyone began searching her past for signs of future evil. After Dee Dee's death, family members described strained relationships in the Petrie household. Some relatives accused her of being deceptive or manipulative from a young age. Those claims have been repeated often because they fit the later story people wanted to tell. If Dee Dee was strange as a child, then Dee Dee the mother becomes easier to condemn. If she was always difficult, always suspect, always wrong, then the murder can be placed inside a neat moral frame. But retrospective family claims are not the same thing as proof. That distinction is important. The public record itself acknowledges that some allegations about Dee Dee's early behavior were made after the fact and are not fully substantiated by contemporaneous records. In plain language, that means people said things about her later, but the available record does not prove every claim from the time it supposedly happened. That does not mean every relative lied. It means readers should be cautious. Because when someone dies in a notorious murder case, people around the story often begin rearranging memory. Old grudges sharpen, embarrassments become evidence, family tensions become prophecy. The dead person becomes easier to blame because she's no longer there to complicate the portrait. Dee Dee's family background was not presented to the public as neutral history. It was presented after her death, under the shadow of a murder, inside the media atmosphere that already needed her to be monstrous. That alone should make the reader slow down. Dee Dee's mother, Emma Lewis, Emma Lois, man, Giclair, if it's French, Petrie, died in 1997. Public summaries confirm the date, but the emotional reality behind it is harder to recover. Family accounts and later case discussions describe Dee Dee as having spent time in caregiving roles, both personally and professionally. She worked as a nurse's aide in early adulthood, including alongside women who later became connected to the wider Blanchard family story. That work matters. A nurse's aide is not a glamorous job. It is intimate, difficult labor. It means bodies, medications, meals, bathing, lifting, cleaning, watching, waiting, and doing the kinds of tasks other people prefer not to see. It means becoming useful in rooms where people are vulnerable. For Dee Dee, caregiving was not an aesthetic she invented for cameras later. It was part of the life she had known before national attention ever found her. This is one of the quiet threads running through her story. Dee Dee was useful to people. Then people later used that usefulness against her. She cared for others, and later that care became suspicious. She learned medical language, and later that knowledge became sinister. She spent time around illness, dependency, and bodily weakness, and later the public treated that familiarity as evidence of manipulation rather than survival.
Pam,
Yes.
New Orleans lady wants up to tell you how to pronounce the name.
Oh, yeah, she's good. We know her.
Okay. She wants up. I don't see her, but she said she requested.
Yeah, we
Um,
can't bring her up, Pam. You have to.
oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
It's
Hi,
okay.
love.
And the name is Claire.
Sorry?
That's how it's pronounced. Just Claire. The
Just
name is
Claire?
pronounced just Claire.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Thank you. Just Claire.
You're welcome.
I thought it would be Giclair. I assumed it was French. Just Claire. Okay.
Well, and I probably don't pronounce it as lovely as people with a Cajun accent does
Oh.
because I've lived in Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas. So
I
I
got
have
you.
accents from everywhere. But it's just Claire. Just Claire. I wish I could pronounce it like some of the Bayou people do because they pronounce it beautifully. But it's just
Oh,
Claire.
just Claire. Okay. Thank you.
Kind of like instead of New Orleans, it's New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah. Who do people say New Orleans? Do they do that? Isn't it always like New Orleans? Do people say New Orleans?
Not,
I don't know.
um,
I guess it could be
People from
accents too.
outside of the state of Louisiana do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I found people outside of the state of Louisiana say it a lot more than locals because if you're local, you'll say New Orleans.
I got you. I mean, we say New Orleans. New
It all
Orleans.
runs together. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's like
then
one word, New Orleans.
yeah, some people say New Orleans. How you say it? Yeah, and I can't. I have trouble pronouncing it that way because I always said New Orleans.
Uh-huh.
It's all one word.
Okay. Thank you very much for the information. You're welcome to stay on panel if you like. Okay, where was
I'll
I?
hang out
Where
for.
was I? Oh, of course. Thank you for coming up and thank you for the clarification. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Where was I? The same facts can be framed very differently depending on whether the storyteller wants sympathy or condemnation. Dee Dee rarely received sympathy. Family members later made other accusations too, including claims that she poisoned her stepmother Laura with weed killer. This allegation has appeared in public summaries of the case, usually as another piece of evidence used to darken Dee Dee's past. But again, the reader has to notice how the claim functions. It appears as a family accusation. It appears after Dee Dee is no longer alive. It is repeated because it fits an already established image. This book does not ask the reader to blindly dismiss every accusation. It asks the reader to examine what is actually proven. Was there a criminal conviction connected to that allegation? Was there a contemporaneous finding that Dee Dee poisoned someone? Was Dee Dee ever able to answer the claim publicly? Or did the accusation become another posthumous brick in the wall built around her name? This is the problem with most of Dee Dee's early life narrative. The harsher the claim, the more useful it became to the monster story. The more useful it became, the less people seemed to ask whether it had been tested, documented, or fairly presented. The dead are easy to prosecute in public. They never object. There's also a deeper family pattern worth considering. Dee Dee's life did not appear to be surrounded by stable support. Public reporting about her later years with Gypsy describes poverty, public housing, family estrangement, and periods of instability. In 2003, Slidell Century News article, later summarized in public case references, described Dee Dee and Gypsy as having been abandoned by family after Dee Dee's mother died. It said that they had bounced around for years looking for affordable housing and had twice lived in their car before finding public housing in Slidell. That is a brutal sentence when allowed to sit on a page. Abandoned by family, living in a car, searching for affordable housing, trying to raise a medically complicated child. Those details do not match the image of an all-powerful manipulator surrounded by resources. They point to something bleaker, a woman with limited money, limited support, unstable housing, and a child whose medical issues brought doctors and assistance programs into the center of their lives. If Dee Dee was so protected by family, why was she living like that? If her relatives were so certain she was dangerous, why was she still left to manage Gypsy nearly alone? If everyone understood the truth so clearly after the murder, why was Dee Dee the one carrying the responsibility while she was alive? Those questions are not excuses. They are context. The mainstream version often presents Dee Dee's relatives as truth tellers who finally exposed her after death. But the same record also suggests distance, conflict, and family breakdown long before the murder. That makes their later certainty complicated. Family members may know things outsiders do not. They may also carry resentment, guilt, shame, or a need to explain why they were not closer when everything fell apart. That is not an attack. It's human nature. When tragedy happens, survivors tell stories that make their own position bearable. Dee Dee did not survive to tell hers. The result is an imbalance that runs through this entire case. Gypsy lived to describe Dee Dee. Rob lived to describe Dee Dee. Christy lived to describe Dee Dee. Relatives lived to describe Dee Dee. Producers, journalists, police, doctors, neighbors, viewers, and internet commentators all described Dee Dee. Dee Dee did not get to describe herself. That silence became the shape of her reputation. And once the public decided what she was, even her childhood was searched for proof. A difficult girl became a future monster. A family conflict became a warning sign. A caregiving job became suspicious training. A poor mother seeking help became a fraudster. Every piece of her life was made to point toward guilt. But a life does not become evidence simply because the ending was terrible. Dee Dee's early adulthood shows a woman familiar with work, care, illness, and dependency. She worked as a nurse's aide. She became a mother in an unstable relationship. Her marriage to Rod Blanchard quickly collapsed. She was left at the daily care of Gypsy. Later, she and Gypsy faced housing insecurity, public assistance, and displacement after Hurricane Katrina. By the time the world met Dee Dee, she'd been surviving for years. That survival may not have been graceful. It may not have been healthy. It may have contained lies, fear, control, pride, and desperation, but it was still survival. There is a tendency in true crime to treat victims as though they must be morally spotless to deserve grief. Dee Dee does not fit that demand, and perhaps that is why the public found it so easy to discard her. She was complicated. She was accused. She was poor. She had a family conflict. She had medical knowledge. She could be difficult. She did not leave behind a clean, angelic record. But dignity is not reserved for perfect people. A woman can be flawed and still be treated unfairly after death. A woman can be difficult and still be abandoned. A woman can be accused by relatives and still deserve scrutiny of those accusations. A woman can have made mistakes and still not deserve to be reduced to the worst version created by people speaking after she was gone. That is what this chapter asks the reader to hold. Not innocence, not sainthood, just caution. Because when a murdered woman's history is built largely from the words of people who outlived her, the question is not only what they said, it is what they never got to say back. I'm sorry, it is what she never got to say back. Dee Dee Blanchard's childhood and family life remain partly hidden behind thin records and loud accusations. What can be seen clearly is enough to matter. She came from a strained family system. She worked in caregiving. She lost her mother. She later experienced family abandonment, housing instability, poverty, and the crushing responsibility of raising a child with medical complications. That is not the beginning of a monster. It is the beginning of a tragedy. That's the end of chapter 8. My heart is hurting, y'all.
I
How's
told y'all.
everybody doing? Everybody all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm.
Everything that I've said for the last however long, 3 years. Dee Dee was just a mom trying to raise her sick daughter that she loved with all her heart. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and go. Thank y'all so much for doing this, and thank y'all
You're welcome.
for
Thank
Dee
you
Dee.
for
We'll get
being
her
here.
voice
I
back.
appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And anytime you need to know how to pronounce a name,
I'll
just
come to
spell
you,
it out
honey.
and I
I'll
can tell
come
you.
to you.
Kind of, yeah, whenever you said that name, I was like, wait a minute, that's just Claire.
Yeah.
But y'all have a good night, and everybody
Thank you. You
say a
too.
prayer for those less fortunate.
I'm gonna try to do a couple more
And
chapters. I'll keep going as long as everybody wants to keep listening, so
I'll be here.
thank you, love.
I'll keep listening.
My goal was
Thank you
to
very
get
much.
at least to chapter 10. Thank you, honey. I appreciate you. Okay. All right. Cece and Laura, y'all okay?
I'm good.
Hi, Breeze Court Blazer.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, Memento's coming up. Yankee Cajun's coming up. Hey, girls. Oh, I
Hello.
said it. Oh, there she is. Hey, y'all.
Mwah. My loves. Hello, hello. Love you guys.
Thank you, babe.
Love you
Love you.
too.
Mwah.
Over there by that tree off the path. You can sleep for 30 minutes, not longer. Then we'll eat and get back
Yankee,
on trail.
can you mute?
We got
Because I can hear
34
your
hours before we
TV.
catch.
Aren't those men getting further away?
They're only men. They need sleep as well. They'll wait for us.
But if we keep going, we could be there sooner before anything.
Won't do us any good.
Yankee.
Or if a horse dies from exhaustion.
All right, I turned off her mic. She can turn it back on herself, right?
I think so.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, there you go. Okay, honey. All right, here we go. Chapter 9 is titled The Trial She Never Had. Thank you for the gifts. You guys are so kind. Thank you. Gypsy Rose Blanchard never had to sit through the full public trial that Nicholas Godejohn faced. That fact matters. It matters because trials are where stories are tested, witnesses are questioned, timelines are pulled apart, messages are read aloud. Contradictions are exposed, motives are challenged. The comfortable version of a person does not always survive once the evidence is placed under lights. Nicholas Godejohn had that kind of a trial. Gypsy did not. She accepted a plea deal. She pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 10 years. Nicholas went before a jury, was convicted of first-degree murder and armed criminal action, and received life in prison. That difference shaped the public memory of the case. Gypsy became the abused daughter who made the desperate mistake. Nicholas became the killer. Dee Dee became the monster. The arrangement was simple, useful, and easy for television to understand. But court records and case reporting show a far more deliberate story. Gypsy was not merely present around the murder. She helped create the conditions for it. She communicated with Nicholas before it happened. She stole money from Dee Dee to help him travel to Missouri. She let him into the house. She gave him gloves and a knife. Public case summaries state that the knife had been shoplifted from Walmart on the understanding that it would be used to kill Dee Dee. Then, while her mother slept, Gypsy hid in another room as Nicholas went into the bedroom and stabbed Dee Dee to death. The public often speaks as if Nicholas arrived like a force of nature. He did not. He was invited. He was funded. He was directed toward the house. He was given access. He was given tools. That does not make him innocent. He committed the physical murder and was convicted for it. But it does make the popular division of blame feel far too neat. Nicholas became the hand. Gypsy was treated as the wound. Dee Dee was treated as the reason. The evidence suggests something colder. Before the murder, Gypsy and Nicholas had discussed killing Dee Dee for a long period. Public summaries of Gypsy's trial testimony state that she had said they had been discussing killing Dee Dee for about a year. She also testified that she had, quote, plans A, B, and C, end quote, to be with Nicholas. One plan involved pretending to meet him by chance at a movie theater while Dee Dee was present so the relationship could appear natural. When that failed, the path narrowed toward murder. That was not a single moment. It was not panic. It was not one bad night. It was planning. Less than a month before the killing, Gypsy reportedly sent Nicholas a video of herself walking into Dee Dee's room, pointing toward her mother's pillow and making a stabbing motion. It is difficult to imagine a clearer symbolic rehearsal. The room, the bed, the target, the gesture. That detail alone should have changed the way the public spoke about her. It rarely did. The mainstream version prefers Gypsy as a trapped daughter with no options. But no options does not explain a staged movie theater plan. It does not explain secret communication over years. It does not explain stolen money for a bus ticket. It does not explain a knife and gloves. It does not explain a video pointing to the bed. Those details belong to a planner. After the murder, the behavior became even more revealing. Gypsy and Nicholas took more than $4,400 in cash from Dee Dee's home. They fled to a motel outside of Springfield and were recorded on security cameras at stores. Later, they traveled to Wisconsin. During that period, Dee Dee's body remained in the house. Then came the Facebook posts. The posts from Dee Dee and Gypsy's shared account were obscene, theatrical, and cruel. One said, quote, "That bitch is dead," end quote. Another said, quote, "I fucking slashed that fat pig and raped her sweet innocent daughter, dot, dot, dot. Her scream was so fucking loud, LOL," end quote. They were not only shocking, they were useful. Those posts caused friends and neighbors to panic and contact police. They also helped investigators trace the activity to Wisconsin. Public case summaries state that IP data and account activity led law enforcement to Nicholas Godejohn's home, where Gypsy and Nicholas were found. That raises an uncomfortable question. Was Nicholas being positioned from the start to carry the visible blame? The posts were written in a way that sounded like a violent male intruder bragging about killing Dee Dee and assaulting Gypsy. The language made Gypsy appear to be the second victim. It pointed away from her and toward a monstrous male attacker. It created, in miniature, the same emotional story the public would later accept on a much larger scale. Dee Dee dead, Gypsy innocent, Nicholas monstrous. Whether that was fully conscious strategy or a chaotic panic, the effect was the same. The first public message after Dee Dee's death did not say help. It did not say my mother is dead. It did not say I was involved. It said something designed to horrify people and make them imagine Gypsy as a victim of Nicholas too. That should matter. When police interviewed them separately, the split deepened. Public investigative summaries state that Gypsy initially told detectives Nicholas killed Dee Dee because Nicholas and Claudine did not get along. She described herself as forced into the situation and claimed she had been in the bathroom during the killing. Nicholas gave another version. According to case summaries, he admitted stabbing Dee Dee but said Gypsy gave him the knife and gloves. He also reportedly said the idea to kill Claudine was Gypsy's and that he would not have killed her if Gypsy had not asked him to. That does not erase his responsibility, but it does expose the shape of the blame. Gypsy survived the murder and immediately had a story that placed Nicholas at the center. Nicholas admitted to the physical act and pointed back to Gypsy as the origin of the plan. Dee Dee was dead and could say nothing. 3 people were inside the moral center of the case. Only 2 could speak. Only 1 would receive lasting public sympathy. Nicholas's own limitations also complicate the way blame settled. Public reporting around his trial and appeals states that his attorney argued he had an IQ of 82 and was on the autism spectrum. Expert testimony and later proceedings discussed his social and cognitive vulnerabilities. Those arguments did not save him from conviction, but they matter when examining the relationship between him and Gypsy. Because Gypsy was not dealing with a sophisticated criminal mastermind. She was dealing with a socially vulnerable man who had become deeply attached to her through online fantasy, sexual role play, and emotional dependence. His lawyers argued that he was susceptible to manipulation. Public summaries note that prosecutors and experts recognized the unusual complexity of his state of mind, even while the jury still found him guilty. That is the part often left out. Nicholas was not excused, but Gypsy was softened. He became the obvious villain because he held the knife. She became the survivor because her story was easier to tell. Yet the evidence showed that she was not simply acted upon. She acted. She requested. She planned. She facilitated. She concealed. Even Nicholas, before trial, described her as the mastermind and said, all the planning, she did every bit of it. He also said, she pretty much willed the knife into my hand. Those are his words, and readers can judge them cautiously. A convicted murderer may try to shift blame, but his statement fits other evidence. It fits the messages, it fits the money, it fits the knife, it fits the gloves, it fits the hidden relationship. It fits Gypsy's own later testimony that she talked him into it. That phrase should never be forgotten. Quote, I talked him into it. Not he forced me. Not I had no idea. Not it was only his plan. I talked him into it. A plea deal meant Gypsy's full role was never examined before the public in the same way that Nicholas's was. That is not a technicality. It is central to understanding why the public narrative became so one-sided. A trial may have forced more attention onto her messages, her lies, her sexualized role play, her planning, her attempts to shift blame, and her actions after the killing. Instead, the case resolved around the abuse narrative. The narrative may have contained truth. It may have contained pain, but it also had enormous value for Gypsy. It explained the murder. It explained her punishment. It reshaped public opinion. It made Dee Dee's alleged sins the emotional center of the story rather than Gypsy's choices. A dead woman was placed on trial without defense. The living daughter received the benefit of context. This is where the story becomes deeply unfair to Dee Dee. Dee Dee's conduct was examined through documentaries, interviews, family accusations, dramatizations, and social media speculation. Her worst alleged moments were repeated until they became identity. Meanwhile, Gypsy's role in the murder was often softened by the language of survival. People said she escaped. People said she was desperate. People said there was no other way. But the evidence suggests there were other ways. Gypsy could walk. Gypsy had internet access. She had contacted men online. She had reshaped public opinion. It made Dee Dee's alleged sins the emotional center of the story rather than Gypsy's choices. A dead woman was placed on trial without a defense. The living daughter received the benefit of context. This is where the story becomes deeply unfair to Dee Dee. Dee Dee's conduct was examined through documentaries, interviews, family accusations, dramatizations, and social media speculation. Her worst alleged moments were repeated until they became identity. Meanwhile, Gypsy's role in the murder was often softened by the language of survival. People said she escaped. They said she was desperate and there was no other way. Wow, did I just reread a whole page? I think I did. Gypsy could walk, she had internet access, she had contacted men online. She had secret accounts. She had planned to meet Nicholas publicly. She had the ability to steal money, arrange travel, coordinate messages, and flee across state lines. She could bring a man into the home to kill her mother. If she could plan that, the claim that murder was the only possible exit deserves serious suspicion. The court system punished Gypsy, but the culture largely excused her. Nicholas received life. Dee Dee received posthumous hatred. Gypsy received a platform. That is the imbalance this book keeps returning to. A sleeping woman was stabbed to death, and the public learned to treat the killing as a tragic but understandable ending to Dee Dee's supposed evil. Yet the documents show forethought. They show concealment. They show staging. They show a daughter who knew how to shape perception before and after the crime. The Facebook posts are especially important because they show the murder becoming narrative almost immediately. Before police found Dee Dee, the story was already being written online. The posts made Nicholas look like the violent aggressor and Gypsy look like the innocent daughter. They created fear, shock, and urgency. They helped get the body discovered while also directing suspicion toward Wisconsin and the man behind the account activity. It was grotesque. It was effective. And it foreshadowed everything that came later. Because after the arrest, the story kept working the same way. Nicholas reimagined the visible killer. Nicholas remained the visible killer. Gypsy remained the rescued daughter. Dee Dee remained the villain whose death people could process without grieving too deeply. That does not feel accidental. It feels like the first version of a strategy that continued for years. Blame Nicholas. Condemn Dee Dee. Protect Gypsy. The trial she never had might have complicated that strategy. Instead, the public got a plea deal, a documentary, a dramatized series, interviews, social media, and a simplified moral script. People learned the emotionally satisfying version before they learned the evidence. By the time details emerged, many had already chosen sides. That is why this chapter matters. It is not about proving Nicholas innocent. He was not. It is not about proving Dee Dee perfect. She was not. It is about refusing to pretend that Gypsy was merely carried along by events she helped set into motion. The evidence shows planning. The evidence shows awareness. The evidence shows blame shifting. The evidence showed a dead woman in a bed and a daughter who knew far more than the public wanted to believe. Gypsy Rose Blanchard's guilty plea closed one legal door. It opened another one in public memory. Because when a person avoids a full trial, the culture often fills the empty space with myth. In this case, the myth was simple. Gypsy survived Dee Dee, Nicholas killed Dee Dee, and Dee Dee deserved the blame. But simple is not the same as true. And Dee Dee Blanchard deserved better than to have the story of her death written by the people who survived it. Boom. That is the end of chapter 9.
I said what I said in the comments, and I'll say it again.
Say it, please.
That nut should have been yeeted on the ground. Dee Dee did not deserve that.
She should have been swallowed, honey.
No, 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 no. It should have been yeeted on the ground. It wasn't worth going in somebody else's body. And I stand on that. So, Gypsy, I swear, if you hear that, there you
Period
go.
poo. Period poo.
Exactly.
Period poo.
And that's when I mic drop. That's my mic drop. Okay, I'll be quiet now.
Oh, deep breaths, deep breaths, deep breaths. Okay. Everybody ready for chapter 10?
Yes, ma'am. Puff puff pass, by the way. There you go.
Puff, puff,
Yes.
pass. I know me, Marie. God bless this man. God bless him. I don't know how he did it, but he did it well.
I want to hug the dude.
For real. And buy him
Consensual
a
hugs.
beer.
I do too.
Yeah, I'll buy him a whole
Come
meal.
on.
Where you want to go?
Mm. Chapter 10 is titled After the Knife. Sorry, I'm rubbing my eyes, my tired eyes. Okay. Chapter 10 After the Knife. The hours after Dee Dee Blanchard's murder are some of the most revealing in the entire case. Not because they are the most violent, but because they are the coldest. A killing can be explained many ways by people desperate to understand it. Panic, fear, rage, trauma, escape. A mind pushed past its limit. Those explanations have surrounded Gypsy Rose Blanchard for years, often softening the edges of what happened inside the Pink House in Springfield, Missouri. But after the knife, there was no immediate collapse into confession. There was movement. There was sex. There was stolen money. There was a motel. There was a bus. There was a wig. There was a weapon mailed away. There were Facebook posts so vile they seemed designed to turn Dee Dee's death into a spectacle before her body had even been found. This is where the story becomes harder to excuse. I see I'm going to get real pissed off. I see this coming. I see it coming.
Yep.
Thank you for the gifts, y'all. I greatly appreciate it. Okay. This is where the story becomes harder to excuse. According to public case summaries, after Nicholas Godejohn stabbed Dee Dee to death, he and Gypsy had sex in Gypsy's room. They then stole more than $4,400 in cash that Dee Dee had kept in the house. They called a taxi and fled to a motel outside Springfield, where they stayed for several days while planning what to do next. That alone deserved to. That is the detail so many popular retellings pass over too quickly. Gypsy could walk. She could travel. She could coordinate. She could hide. She could use a false image when it suited her. And after Dee Dee was dead, the illness performance disappeared fast enough for witnesses to see her walking on her own. There was also the weapon. Public case summaries state that Gypsy and Nicholas mailed the murder weapon back to Wisconsin so they would not be caught with it. That is not confusion. That is not shock. That is evidence of consciousness of guilt. It is an attempt to separate themselves physically from the object used to kill Dee Dee. A knife does not mail itself. Someone had to decide it should not remain with them. Someone had to package it. Someone had to send it. The aftermath shows thinking. It shows planning after the planning. It shows that the murder did not end in emotional collapse. It moved into logistics. Then there is the hotel video. In a video reportedly recorded the day after the murder, Gypsy laughed while filming Nicholas eating a brownie and said, quote, "He's eating a brownie, but later he will be eating me." End quote. It is difficult to overstate how disturbing that sentence is in context. Dee Dee had just been stabbed to death. Her body was still in the home. People who loved or knew her had not been given the dignity of knowing she was dead. And her daughter was laughing in a motel room, making a sexual joke about the man who just killed her mother. There are moments in criminal cases that reveal something words after the fact cannot easily repair. That video is one of them. Later, remorse can be claimed. Later, explanations can be offered. Trauma language can be used, but the day after the murder, the available public summary does not describe Gypsy as shattered, horrified, or consumed by grief. It describes her laughing. That does not prove every thought inside her mind. It does show behavior, and behavior matters. The Facebook posts added another layer of cruelty. From Dee Dee and Gypsy's shared account came the words, quote, "That bitch is dead." Another post said, quote, I fucking slashed that pig and raped her sweet innocent daughter, dot, dot, dot. Her scream was so fucking loud, LOL, end quote. Those words were not merely disgusting. They served a purpose. They got attention. They frightened neighbors. They made people contact police. They also created an instant narrative. The writer sounded like a violent male attacker. Gypsy was framed as a sweet, innocent daughter, possibly assaulted and helpless. Dee Dee was mocked as dead and degraded before anyone even stood over her body with an official certainty. That is the first public story the killers released. Dee Dee as disposable, Gypsy as innocent, a man as the monster. The structure is almost too perfect. Public case summaries state that the posts were traced by IP data to Nicholas Godejohn's Wisconsin address, leading police to him and Gypsy. Some will argue the posts were foolish because they helped the investigators find them. That may be true, but foolishness does not cancel cruelty, nor does it cancel the fact that the post shifted attention toward Nicholas and away from Gypsy in the first emotional moment of public discovery. The post made Dee Dee's death into a performance. They did not preserve her dignity. They did not seek help in a human way. They made a dead woman the target of final humiliation. This is one of the most important parts of the case because it shows how quickly Dee Dee was dehumanized. Not by strangers online years later, not first by documentaries, not first by TikTok users, immediately by the people who had left her in that house. The public often wants to believe Gypsy was simply terrified, desperate, and incapable of processing what had happened. But the aftermath does not read that way cleanly. It reads as movement away from the crime, concealment of evidence, sexualized joking, theft, travel, disguise, and online staging. Those are uncomfortable facts. They should be uncomfortable. The days after the murder also revealed the difference between grief and freedom. For many people, the death of a parent, even a complicated or abusive parent, produces shock, numbness, conflict, sorrow, confusion, or at least some visible recognition that a life has ended. Gypsy's documented behavior after Dee Dee's death instead appears in public summaries disturbingly light. She seemed to believe they had gotten away with it. She moved through public spaces with Nicholas. She stayed in a motel. She left Missouri. She participated in the journey toward Wisconsin. That does not look like rescue. It looks like escape from accountability. And once she was caught, the story shifted again. Gypsy became the daughter people wanted to save. Nicholas became the killer people wanted to condemn. Dee Dee became the mother people were told not to mourn too much. That pattern began before the documentaries and never really stopped. The knife was mailed away, but the narrative remained. Gypsy survived to explain herself. Nicholas survived to be blamed. Dee Dee did not survive to object. This imbalance is central to understanding the case. A dead woman's reputation was destroyed, while the living people shaped meaning around her absence. Dee Dee could not explain what happened before the murder. She could not describe her relationship with Gypsy in the final weeks. She could not tell police whether she felt afraid. She could not respond to claims that she had created every illness. She could not answer the daughter who helped bring a killer into her home. All she could do was lie where she had been left. The aftermath is where the reader must decide whether the popular story feels complete. If Gypsy was only helpless, why the disguise? If she was only panicked, why the stolen money? If she was only horrified, why the hotel joke? If she wanted help, why the obscene Facebook posts? If she had no agency, why mail away the knife? None of those questions require speculation. They arise from the documented sequence itself. This does not mean Dee Dee was perfect. It does not erase the allegations surrounding her. It does not require the reader to deny dysfunction in the home. But it does require honesty about what happened after she died. And what happened after she died was not dignity. It was theft, travel, concealment, sex, mockery, and storytelling. The saddest part is that Dee Dee's final public introduction to the world came through words meant to degrade her. Millions would eventually know her as the mother in the pink house, the woman accused of lying, the woman blamed for creating the situation that led to her own death. But before the public knew the full story, before the medical records and court documents and documentaries and arguments, her death was announced in vulgarity. Quote, "That bitch is dead," end quote. That was not justice. That was desecration. A society that cares about truth should not look away from that. It should not accept a softened version of the aftermath because the survivor later learned how to tell a more sympathetic story. The first story after the murder was already manipulative. It already selected roles. It already invited the world to see Dee Dee as less than human. That is why this chapter matters. Because what people do after violence can reveal what they believed during it. After the knife, Gypsy did not call for help. She did not publicly confess. She did not protect her mother's dignity. She did not collapse beside the body. She left. She hid. She laughed. She helped make the dead woman into content. And years later, the world still struggles to admit what that says. That is the end of chapter 10.
Ashley, I think I would like to stop making her laugh.
Mhm. Do you guys want chapter 11?
You damn right we do. If you don't
Okay.
mind.
Nope, I don't.
I think we need it.
Everybody doing all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm having a hot flash. Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
You got a neck fan?
Oh, No, I loaned it to Ken.
That's why I have 3.
She said, lend it to Ken.
I don't know.
I
His
couldn't
head's
help
getting so
myself.
big. His head's getting so big. I don't know if it would fit around his neck now. I don't think they make those like that. Gypsy can
Oh
make him
my
something out of aluminum foil. Give him his own collar.
Green-eyed Leo was joining us on panel. I
Hi,
had to make a
sweetie.
joke. I couldn't help it. Hey, love.
Hey, someday
Hey.
laughter is the best medicine.
Authorities remain determined to see his alleged co-conspirator Amber Andrews.
Green-eyed Leo, do you know that you're on panel?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can you mute for us, honey, if you're not speaking?
Hello.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Welcome up. How you doing?
Good. I
Good.
just
Good.
that whole thing was just I was listening to you guys before I requested.
Mm-hmm.
It's so disturbing because I
It's rough.
lived there during this.
Did you?
I lived on State and Douglas, like 10 minutes from their house.
Oh, wow.
And
In
it's
Missouri.
yeah. And it's so,
Did you know
it
Dee Dee?
just brings back so many memories.
I imagine it had to
Did you
be
know
really
Dee Dee?
devastating for that community.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we all felt so sorry for them. And I'm not claiming Dee Dee was a perfect person.
Nobody
But,
is.
you know, I mean, she was trying to take care of her daughter. I mean,
Yep.
I have a disabled daughter, and I would do anything, you know, to figure out what was wrong with her.
Yep.
So I can see Dee Dee's side of it. And once she found out what
Green,
was
I knew
wrong
Dee
with
Dee.
her, you know, it's like once you find a diagnosis, you learn how to live with it.
And you just get through life.
Yeah. And you know, it's just like you search and search and search and search. I mean, with my son, I dealt with it for like 15 years to try to figure out what his disorder was. And we finally found out he had dyslexia, you know. And so you just keep on and keep on and come on. And so I can see how Dee Dee was when she was trying to figure out what was wrong with Gypsy until you find out what was wrong with them. And after 2011, there was nothing else done to her because she found out she had the micro deletion.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's like, but as a parent, you search and search and search. So, do I have an MVP? Because I tried to figure out what was wrong with my son.
Right. Same.
It's
With that narrative, anybody
Or
that can be
you
said
know,
about anybody with a child that has issues, and you take it to a doctor and get it treated for whatever issues it's having. When the fact of the matter is that Dee Dee had her treated for the problems that she was having as a result of her microdeletion before she knew that the girl had a microdeletion. When they finally
exactly.
figured it out, all of her stuff had been handled. For the
Yeah,
majority of it
because
was.
they didn't understand her microdeletion till
Mhm.
2011. So, you're sitting here searching and searching and searching for, what is wrong with my child?
Right. And that
You
makes
know,
Gypsy, what, 20 years old when they found that she had the microdeletion? She
yeah,
was an adult.
yeah,
And all of
exactly,
her issues had already been handled
she was
throughout
very
her life because they
exactly.
existed.
Because, I sat here and had my son do this and that and that and that and that, and then I had him tested, and this is what was wrong with him. But you
Yep.
keep searching for an answer. So, do I have Munchausen by proxy? Because I'm trying to figure out what was wrong with my son. You know, Gypsy's making it out like it's a big, conspiracy thing.
Yeah.
But no, we're parents. We're trying to figure out what's wrong with our children.
Mm-hmm. Audrey J., I haven't seen those yet. Can you tell me where specifically I can find those? I heard about them today, but I haven't seen them. Somebody said on Into the Weeds website, but I tried to find the website and I
yeah,
couldn't
in
find
the
it.
Into the Weeds website
She's got
on
bruises
YouTube.
on her knuckles and on her knees and
Um,
stuff.
I mean,
I've seen
if
them.
if
I couldn't find
you can
the
find
website.
If Dee Dee had MVP, why
I have a
was
link
there
on my
no
page.
testing between 2011 and 2015?
Because by then everything had been handled.
Exactly, because she found out the diagnosis.
Right.
The only
She
thing
knew
left was fixing
she
it.
knew what she was dealing with.
I mean, I sat there from when my son was in pre-K, and you can ask my parents' teacher lady. We were like, something's going on with him. He doesn't learn right, blah, blah, until he was like in fourth grade. And they were finally, I had to take him to an independent person or a clinic, whatever you call it. And they diagnosed him with dyslexia.
All right.
So it's like you keep searching and searching and searching you find what's wrong with your child.
Exactly.
That's not on Dee Dee.
No, it
I
isn't.
mean, I'm not saying she was not a fraud or whatever people say she was. I don't know that.
I
But
don't know that either. Can't say it. But even if she was the biggest fucking con artist of all time, she didn't deserve to be murdered. Period.
exactly. I mean, she was
Period.
just trying to figure out what was wrong with her child.
Mhm.
And
All right,
that's
let's
what
move
I
on
did.
to chapter 11 because it is getting late for me. And I'm so tired.
Just do it
Are we
tomorrow.
ready? Do you guys want chapter 11?
Is this
I'm
the
ready.
new?
Tired, you go ahead and go to sleep. But if you
I
want
ain't
to read
that
it,
tired because I'm
Is
fired up,
this the
girl.
new book that's come out, or what?
Yes, ma'am. This is a new book. Yep.
Oh Lord!
Yes, ma'am. Brand new book. Okay. Everybody mute, please. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you to my panel people. I love you so much. Okay, here we go. Chapter 11. Television made her innocent. By the time many people formed an opinion about Dee Dee Blanchard, they had not read a court filing. They had watched a show. That is one of the most important facts in this case. Public memory was not built only from evidence. It was built from documentaries, dramatizations, interviews, podcasts, TikTok edits, YouTube essays, tabloid headlines, reality television, and the emotional power of seeing Gypsy Rose Blanchard presented again and again as the surviving daughter of an evil mother. The public did not simply learn the story, it consumed it. That makes a difference. A court document asks what can be proven. Television asks what can be felt. A courtroom slows a story down. Entertainment speeds it up. Evidence has limits. Drama does not. Once Dee Dee became a character, the audience no longer had to wonder what she might have said in her own defense. They already knew the role she had been assigned: mother, monster, captive keeper. The first major screen version to shape the public was HBO's Mommy, Dead and Dearest, released in 2017. The documentary examined the murder of Dee Dee Blanchard and focused heavily on the allegations that Dee Dee had medically abused Gypsy for years. It included interviews, interrogation footage, and a framing that helped introduce millions of viewers to the case through the emotional lens of Gypsy's survival. For many people, that documentary became the case. Not a version of the case, the case. That is dangerous because documentaries can feel like evidence when they are still edited narratives. A documentary decides what to show, what to leave out, when to cut, what music to use, what order to place the facts in, and which voices feel trustworthy. That does not make a documentary false. It does mean it should never replace the record. But with Dee Dee, it often did. Viewers saw the wheelchair, the shaved head, the medical claims, the charity photographs, the pink house, and the daughter speaking from prison. They saw a story that looked complete because it felt complete. Dee Dee was not there to interrupt it. She was not there to explain the medical history. She was not there to describe what doctors had told her. She was not there to answer family members, producers, attorneys, or Gypsy herself. A dead woman became the subject of a documentary built largely around people who survived her. That imbalance shaped everything that followed. Then came The Act. Hulu's dramatized series gave the case actors costumes, lighting, pacing, dialogue, close-ups, and emotional music. It gave the audience scenes no camera had actually captured. It gave private moments a script. It transformed real people into characters who could be understood in 8 episodes. That is powerful. It is also risky. The act was not a trial transcript. It was not a medical file. It was not Dee Dee's diary. It was a television drama based on a real case created to hold attention. That means it had to make the story emotionally legible. It had to make viewers feel the horror of Gypsy's position. It had to make Dee Dee frightening enough that the murder could be understood as the endpoint of unbearable control. Again, that does not mean every detail was invented. It means the emotional center was chosen. And the emotional center was not Dee Dee's humanity. The emotional center was Gypsy's suffering. Patricia Arquette and Joey King gave powerful performances. Critics praised the series. Audiences responded. But strong acting can become its own kind of evidence in the public mind. A viewer may know intellectually that a scene is dramatized, while still absorbing it emotionally as truth. A look, a silence, a tone of voice, a cruel line of dialogue, a staged medical scene, a frightened expression from Gypsy, all of it lingers. People remember what they felt. They forget what was proven. That is how entertainment quietly becomes testimony. Once the story moved through drama, Dee Dee became almost impossible to recover. The public had seen her as controlling. It had seen her through the camera's suspicion. It had felt the claustrophobia of the house. It had watched the daughter's desperation grow. By the time people later heard that Gypsy had a real chromosomal disorder, that some producers may have failed, that some procedures may have had medical explanations, that she knew she could walk, that she had secret online relationships, that she planned with Nicholas for months, that she admitted talking him into it. Many viewers had already emotionally convicted Dee Dee. Facts that arrived later had to fight a story that already settled. That is not how justice should work. The problem grew worse after Gypsy's release from prison. Lifetime's Gypsy Rose, Life After Lockup, turned the aftermath into a continuing series. The focus shifted from murder to reinvention. her marriage, divorce, relationship with Ken Urker, pregnancy, birth of her alleged daughter, social media presence, public criticism, and attempts to build a new life became serialized content. Dee Dee remained dead. Gypsy became ongoing programming. That is an extraordinary thing to consider. A woman was murdered. Her daughter pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. The boyfriend who carried out the stabbing received life. Yet the daughter's life after prison became a reality docuseries. The public was invited to keep watching, not as jurors, not as readers of evidence, but as viewers following a personality. That changed the moral atmosphere. When someone appears repeatedly on television, audiences become familiar with them. Familiarity softens. A face seen often can begin to feel harmless. Shit, not to me. A person filmed crying, laughing, arguing, dating, parenting, and applying makeup becomes human to viewers in a way the victim does not. Gypsy was given dimensionality. Dee Dee was largely fixed in a place as the past she survived. That is the imbalance. Gypsy gets seasons. Dee Dee gets flashbacks. Gypsy gets confessionals. Dee Dee gets accusations. Gypsy gets motherhood arcs. Dee Dee gets the monster label. That is how media can quietly reverse the gravity of a homicide. The dead person becomes a plot device. The convicted person becomes the protagonist. The audience is asked to care about what happens next to the person who survived, even when that person helped create the death at the center of the story. The effect is subtle but powerful. Viewers begin asking whether Gypsy will find love, whether she will adjust to fame, whether she will stay married, whether she will reunite with Ken, whether she will become a good mother, whether she will handle backlash, whether she will grow. Those questions are not meaningless, but they crowd out another question. What was taken from Dee Dee? Dee Dee did not get a second act. She did not get posthumous reinvention. She did not get a camera following her through the years before the murder, asking what poverty had done to her, what caregiving had cost her, what she had feared about Gypsy's health, what she knew about the hidden men, what she believed about the doctors, or how abandoned she felt by people who later had so much to say. She got a role, and that role was villain. The rise of social media made the distortion even worse. On TikTok and Instagram, complex cases are reduced to seconds. A clip from an interview, a reaction face, a dramatic caption, a soundbite about medical abuse, a joke, a dance, a fan edit, a comment section filled with people who speak as if watching a dramatized series counts as research. The algorithm does not reward nuance. It rewards certainty. So the easiest version wins. Dee Dee abused Gypsy. Gypsy escaped. Nicholas killed. Case closed. But case closed is not the same as truth found. The more simplified the story became, the more hatred Dee Dee received. People mocked her appearance. They celebrated her death. They reported claims without checking on them. They treated her ashes being allegedly flushed as if it were an appropriate punchline. They spoke of her as though her murder had been an understandable correction. That is what entertainment can do when it detaches sympathy from evidence. It makes cruelty feel righteous. The true crime industry often insists that it gives victim a voice. But in this case, the victim was the person least protected by the narrative. Dee Dee's body created the genre interest, but Gypsy survival created the market. The audience did not gather to mourn Dee Dee. It gathered to understand Gypsy. Then, after release, it gathered to follow Gypsy. That is a very different thing. It is especially troubling because Gypsy's version has changed, expanded, and benefited from public attention. Her story gave her legal mitigation. It gave her media sympathy. It gave her followers. It gave her books, interviews, programming, and a platform. Dee Dee's story gave her nothing because Dee Dee was no longer alive. A living narrator can revise. A dead woman can only be revised by others. That should make readers cautious. It is not wrong to watch a documentary. It is not wrong to be moved by dramatization. It is not wrong to believe that Gypsy experienced real harm. But it is wrong to let entertainment substitute for evidence. It is wrong to forget that a performance is not a court record. It is wrong to turn a murder victim into a villain so completely that her death becomes easier to consume. And that is what happened. Television did not literally declare Gypsy innocent. The law did not declare her innocent either. She pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, but television helped make her emotionally innocent to the public imagination. It taught viewers how to feel. It framed the sympathy. It selected the villain. It gave the audience a story that could be watched, understood, and repeated without the discomfort of doubt. That emotional innocence became powerful. It followed Gypsy out of prison. It helped her become a public figure. It helped people interpret her jokes, relationships, contradictions, and online behavior through the softest possible lens. And it kept Dee Dee trapped forever in the harshest one. That is why this book keeps returning to the same point. Dee Dee Blanchard does not have to be perfect to deserve fairness. She does not have to be innocent of every accusation to deserve humanity. She does not have to be saintly to deserve grief. She was murdered. That should have remained central. Instead, entertainment made the case about everything around the murder: the illness, the deception, the abuse narrative, the prison sentence, the release, the fame, the boyfriends, the baby, the brand. The woman in the bed became background. That is the final danger of television in this case. It can make viewers feel informed while quietly teaching them what not to notice. Do not notice that Gypsy avoided a full public trial. Do not notice how planning preceded the killing. Do not notice the Facebook post. Do not notice the hotel video. Do not notice the knife mailed away. Do not notice the medical complications that make the story less simple. Do not notice the dead woman's silence. Just watch, feel, choose a side, then keep watching. That may be good television, but it is not justice. That is the end of chapter 11. How do you feel about 12?
I want to say thank you, Pam. This just, it makes me so mad. Every word you say just makes me more madder.
I'm sorry.
It should just fuel you to keep going. Take that anger and turn it into something better.
Yep, absolutely. This
Just look
lit a
at
fire under my ass like nothing before.
that's it right there. Take it as that.
All right, I'm gonna plow right through. We're going through chapter 12.
I love you so
Ready?
much.
I love you too. Okay, chapter 12. What remorse should look like. Remorse is not silence forever. It is not disappearing completely. It is not refusing to smile. It is not living every day with ashes in your mouth. A person can do wrong, serve time, leave prison, rebuild, work, love, parent, and still be genuinely sorry. But remorse has a shape. It has restraint. It has humility. It has an instinct to protect the dignity of the person who cannot speak anymore. That is what makes Gypsy Rose Blanchard's life after prison so difficult to watch. Not because she exists publicly, not because she gave interviews, not because she wrote books or tried to build a life. The problem is what her public behavior seems to reveal about the place Dee Dee Blanchard holds in her mind. A mother was murdered. That sentence should slow everything down. Yet after prison, Gypsy stepped into a world of cameras, social media, reality television, interviews, followers, relationship drama, influencer content, and viral trends. Time reported that after her release, she quickly established a social media presence across major platforms and announced an ebook tied to her release. Other reporting described millions of followers, deleted accounts, revived accounts, television appearances, and a reality series following her public life after prison. The machinery was immediate. It was not a quiet return, it was a rollout. That does not prove a lack of remorse by itself, but it creates the context for everything that followed. When someone is famous because of a homicide, every public choice carries the weight of that homicide. A dance is not just a dance. A joke is not just a joke. A relationship update is not just gossip. A trend is not just a trend. There is a dead woman underneath of all of it. Dee Dee Blanchard cannot post a response. She cannot give a corrective interview. She cannot show family photographs from her side. She cannot explain how she saw her own life. She can't clarify what happened inside the house. She can't tell the public whether she was afraid of Gypsy. She can't say what she knew about Nicholas Godejohn. She can't defend her own medical decisions. Gypsy can speak. That makes Gypsy's choices even more, not less. Matter even more, not less. The most glaring example came with the backlash over her participation in the We listen and we don't judge. TikTok trend. Reports describe Gypsy appearing to reference the killing of her mother in a light-hearted or joking way, with interviewers criticizing, with viewers criticizing the video as disturbing and inappropriate. Entertainment Weekly reported that she later said, quote, "It wasn't received like we wanted." That phrase is revealing. Not because it proves what she felt privately. Nobody can see the inside of another person's conscience. But it suggests a concern with reception, with how their performance landed, with the audience response. The issue became how the video was received, and the deeper question should have been why it existed at all. Why turn the death of your mother into a trend? Why let the internet laugh anywhere near it? Why risk making a joke from the crime from which you went to prison? A remorseful person does not need to perform grief every day. But surely remorse should create boundaries. Surely there are things that a person could refuse to turn into content. Surely the stabbing death of one's mother should sit beyond the reach of viral formats. If Gypsy was truly shattered by what happened, if she truly understood the gravity of what Dee Dee lost, one would expect caution, not perfection, caution, a carefulness around the subject, a refusal to make the murder entertaining, an awareness that every joke lands on a grave. Instead, the public has seen a pattern that feels careless at best and cruel at worst. TikTok trends, reality television, relationship drama, baby headlines, social media cycles, deleted accounts, reappearing accounts, public explanations, backlash, apologies, more attention, always more attention. That is the hard thing to ignore. Attention runs through this story like a wire. Attention around illness, attention around charity, attention through secret relationships, attention through the murder, attention through prison, attention through release, attention through social media, attention through men, attention through motherhood, attention through outrage. The form changes. The appetite does not seem to. Supporters often argue that Gypsy is simply learning how to live. That may be partly true. She spent years in prison. She had a strange childhood. Her development was affected by circumstances most people cannot imagine. But explanation is not absolution. A difficult life does not make every public choice harmless. Trauma does not give someone permanent license to trivialize another person's death, especially when that death is the reason the platform exists. The platform becomes even more disturbing when placed beside older evidence. Before the murder, Gypsy and Nicholas's relationship involved fantasy roles, sexualized messages, videos, and a private world in which violence and domination blurred with affection. Public case summaries describe role play identities, planning, and Nicholas's defense arguments that Gypsy's messages and videos helped influence him. In that context, the later tendency to perform online does not look random. It looks like an extension of a long pattern in which fantasy, audience, sexuality, identity, and control become dangerously tangled. That is not saying every TikTok is criminal. It is saying the pattern deserves scrutiny. A person who helped plan a murder should understand the danger of her performance. A person whose private fantasy life became connected to real violence should be careful about turning life into clips and reactions. A person whose mother died in a crime she admitted participating in should know that some subjects are not material. Dee Dee never got that protection. In life, she was watched, judged, needed, criticized, and finally betrayed. In death, she became the raw material for other people's stories. First, the Facebook post degraded her. Then the documentaries explained her. Then the drama series embodied her. Then the social media machine mocked, debated, simplified, and consumed her. Now, even remorse becomes part of the performance. Gypsy can say she is sorry. She can speak of accountability. She can use the language of growth. But the reader has to ask whether the patterns support the words. Remorse is not only what a person says in interviews, it's what they do when no one is forcing them to be dignified. It's what they refuse to exploit. It is the line they will not cross for engagement. That is why the TikTok backlash mattered. It was not merely one bad clip. It was a moment that revealed how easily Dee Dee's death could still be handled as content by the person most responsible for treating it with seriousness. Some will say people are overreacting, but imagine Dee Dee as fully human for one moment. Imagine her not as the monster from television, not as the meme, not as the obstacle in Gypsy's redemption arc, but as the woman in her bed, a mother, a caregiver, a person with a childhood, a body, fears, memories, medical problems, habits, laughter, flaws, and private thoughts no documentary ever recovered. Then imagine her daughter, years later, smiling into a camera while a trend circles the subject of her death. The discomfort is not irrational. It is moral. That does not mean the public should harass Gypsy. It does not mean anyone should threaten her or her family. It does not mean she has no right to rebuild her life. But rebuilding is not the same as branding. Healing is not the same as monetizing. Accountability is not the same as turning matricide into a recurring subplot. There is a difference between surviving and selling. The difference between moving forward and performing forward. There is a difference between remorse and reputation management. The public should be honest enough to see that difference. Dee Dee Blanchard was denied the dignity of being heard after death. If Gypsy had wanted to honor even the smallest part of that lost dignity, She could have chosen a quieter path. She could have spoken carefully, rarely, and soberly about the murder. She could have refused to participate in trends that touched it. She could have drawn a hard line between rebuilding her life and entertaining an audience with the crime that ended her mother's. Instead, the line has been blurred again and again. That blurring is what this chapter's names, not as a legal argument, but as a moral one. If remorse is real, it should make a person careful with the dead. And Gypsy Rose Blanchard had not always been careful with the DD. That is the end of chapter 12. Oh, the title of chapter 13 makes me want to keep going. I'm going to roll right into it.
Yes.
Chapter 13, the blanket video. You ready? Oh, you ready?
Go.
Chapter 13, the blanket video. The blanket was not the most interesting part of the video. The camera was. Most emotional outbursts happen privately. Most people experiencing genuine frustration do not stop to consider lighting, framing, or recording equipment. That reality led some critics to focus less on the destruction of the blanket and more on the circumstances surrounding the recording itself. The question they asked was simple. Why was a camera already there? Publicly available information does not fully answer that question. However, the existence of the footage created speculation among viewers who believed the event reflected something larger than a spontaneous emotional reaction. To these observers, the video appeared unusually performative. They argued that the emotional display seemed directed not only toward the person involved in the argument, but also toward a future audience. Whether that interpretation is correct remains open to debate. Yet it raises an important question that appears repeatedly throughout the Gypsy Rose story: the relationship between emotion and performance. Critics have long argued that many of Gypsy's most significant public moments involve an awareness of audience reaction. Supporters reject this characterization and view such accusations as unfair attempts to reinterpret normal human behavior through the lens of a notorious crime. The blanket video became another battleground in that larger dispute. For those sympathetic to Dee Dee Blanchard, the footage carried a different meaning. Rather than asking what the video revealed about one argument, they asked what similar conflicts may have looked like behind closed doors years earlier. If the public was willing to accept the possibility that Gypsy could become intensely emotional in adulthood, they argued, why was it impossible to imagine similar tensions existing inside the Blanchard household? This question does not prove any particular theory. It does not prove that Dee Dee was innocent. It does not prove that Gypsy was abusive. But it does challenge the simplistic image of a permanently passive and powerless daughter that often dominated early media coverage. The blanket video matters because it reminds viewers that every major figure in this case was more complicated than the public narrative allowed. The camera captured more than an argument. It captured uncertainty, and uncertainty remains one of the most overlooked elements of the entire case. That is the end of chapter 13.
Thank you, Pam, for reading this. Thank you so much.
You are welcome, but I am going to conclude for tonight.
And thank you for everybody that came in and supported Pam. Thank you again.
Yes, thank you everyone who came through, stopped in,
Yes.
dropped a heart, me, tapped the screen, gifted myself or people on my panel. I thank you so very much.
Yes.
I didn't have a live planned for tomorrow night. But if you guys are interested, I think there's 4 chapters left, right? How many chapters are there? 18?
There's 18, I believe.
Okay, so
there's
I
some
think
people that
tomorrow.
came in late, Pam. I'm gonna do a recap on what you've already read tomorrow, because some people came in and missed some to catch them up. So.
Oh, on another note, Laura May, if you ever want to read me a book, please do. I love listening to you talk to. Remember, you can read me a book.
Oh.
I would love that. That would be amazing.
I'm gonna do mine like at 6:30.
6:30, and is that
the 7:30 your time?
7:30 for me. Okay.
Yeah,
and what are you? What are you going to read?
I thought you said Eastern, CC.
No, Central.
Okay.
It's Central time, my time.
Yeah, y'all live in the past. Come on, catch up.
Because there were some people come in that toward like chapter 10.
I would like to I would like to do 14 through 18 at some point tomorrow.
Okay. I'll do it.
Y'all better
we're done before Sunday. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Take a breather day.
No, just so everybody knows that she will be having a live Sunday at 3 with a special guest. So please come. That's 3:00 Eastern.
Us people in the future, that's our time. I always tell that to my bestie. She lives down in Mississippi, and I'm like, you always living in the past, girl. Catch up.
Do we all think Gypsy is big angry? No, I don't think she gives a fuck. She'll care about anything. Nothing at all. I'm doing a live on Sunday, Queen. And we're gonna have a special guest on Sunday. It should be a really good live. I'm hoping that it will be. It'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. Tomorrow, to do 14 through 18. I guess I could do it at night since you're going to be on in an earlier evening.
Okay.
You know? So I'll go on. I guess we could do it at the same time, like 9:30 Eastern. Does
Okay.
that work?
Yeah, that'll give me time because these
Does
are
that give you enough
short.
time?
Yeah, it should. Because I won't linger after we get done. Then we can just come straight to yours. Because I'm just going to catch everybody up because there were several that come in around 9 or 10, chapter 9 or 10. So,
If anybody's got the book cover, would y'all send me that picture, and then the rest of us, like, we can use it that way people know what what's been read.
Yes, I will. We are reading The Woman They Made a Monster,
I have the.
the D.D.
Thank you, dear.
Blanchard case from her perspective. Um, it captions an investigation based on FOIA documents, medical records, court files, and prison correspondence. It was written by Liam Bossonette, and that is a true crime researcher and investigative author. And clearly, this book is very, very well written. It is available on Amazon and Kindle if you are interested in it. On Amazon, the paperback is only, for me, where I live, it's $5.67. The Kindle version is available as well. It's free for Kindle Unlimited if you have a subscription, or if you don't have a subscription, that's okay too. It is 99 cents. Because my book is not here and it won't be here till Monday, it does take some time for them to ship. I believe it's because of this person's location, which is the UK. I think that shipping takes some time, so I wanted to be able to read it. So I did buy the version online, and then I ordered several copies because it is so affordable. And yesterday I decided to order 6 for my local library. So just a little local library in my town. But there are 11 other large public libraries in my county, and I'm going to buy 6 for each of those locations. However, I was advised to check with them first to make sure that this is something that they would want to carry. So I contacted our county director today, and the county director said that these are admissible in county libraries. So I'm going to get, that would make it 66 additional copies I'm going to buy, so that all 11 of those other libraries outside of my little city library will have 6 copies.
Thank you for that idea. That's a wonderful idea. I want to do that too. I go by the library every
Amen.
day.
And ladies, he does have a TikTok, so please follow him.
if you're not following, follow him.
Leave him a little message. Let him know you appreciate him being Dee Dee's voice, and that you are loving the book, please.
Yes.
If you see anyone pestering this I want you to do everything in your power to stop it, including reporting the comment.
And if you don't want to, please come get me. I will.
Yeah.
Right. Come find one
Do
of
with
us.
this.
We'll just take care of it.
We'll take care of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This person is a very calm and patient and soft-spoken person with a brilliant mind. Yeah. Sandra, yeah, we talked about that last night too.
Yeah.
We have like the little free libraries around. I talked to two people who I know have them, and their concern was it getting into a child's hands. So those two, we're not gonna put the book into those little library boxes, like the free book exchanges and stuff. His name is Liam, Liam Bossonnet, Bosonnet, Liam Bossonnet. And the book is called The Woman They Made a Monster. The Gypsy Rose Blanchard case.
Dee Dee Blanchard.
I have it. It is on my profile if you guys want to see it and you're not sure or you forget what it is. Oh, that's nice that you have adult and children's ones. That's awesome.
I have it on my stories also.
Just call the library and ask them if they'll carry it, Naughty. You can just call them and ask them.
I even ordered one for G&T Queen today since she lives in Australia. Since it's cheaper for me to get it than it is for her.
Oh, yeah, and then it just gets mailed to her, right?
Right. So I ordered
that's
for
cool.
her today.
Oh,
That's really cool.
I haven't there's a big thing that's coming up around here, and it draws a humongous crowd for like 4 or 5 days. So I think I can order a bunch and then just have my mother-in-law and my daughter give them out for free while they're there.
You know what would be really cool? If this book makes it to CrimeCon.
That would be awesome.
Dude, I would take stacks, man. Like, no joke.
We need to talk to Lenny about that. She goes to CrimeCon every year.
Does she?
Yes. Because I talked to her about possibly going with her. Well, not with her personally, but going next year.
See, now, this is something to invest some money in to get out to people. This is really worth it.
Naughty Wendy, will you message me about that? I'm more than willing to help contact the libraries, and then I can order them and have them sent to the libraries also. Yeah, I just don't want to forget because my mind is like reeling right now.
That's why I write everything everything down. I need to take notes.
I blame menopause.
I blame my
Yeah,
ADHD.
for anybody asking to help.
Yeah, I think I'm undiagnosed ADHD or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
My mind is a sieve, and I don't sleep, and that's not helping. It's just disaster. I'm just a fucking walking disaster at this point. My husband's like, you probably shouldn't be driving. I said, you probably shouldn't be talking, but here we fucking are.
Damn.
Fucking tell me not to be driving. But yeah, I'm gonna try this medicine tonight. I could keep going. I honestly, I could keep going through the entire book. I could probably keep going until 5 o'clock in the morning, even though I'm literally on my heels, exhausted. I just can't sleep. I spent 3 hours trying to take a nap. Just trying. No phone in my hand, no nothing, no noise except white noise, dark room, no animals pestering me, and I couldn't do it. And I should have passed out and like deep dive sleep for like 16 hours, and I can't do it. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. It's crazy.
Girl, I can't even. I cannot tell y'all how long I was at pets a little bit, because y'all would be like, "What in the hell happened to you?" I had caffeine for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I need sleep bad.
Well, I hope
Yeah,
you.
we're definitely trying to get a lot together. I think a lot of people are. I mean, thankfully, it's so affordable. Even if people can't do more than one or two at a time, anything is helpful. Anything. If you bought one book per pay, it helps. It's one more hand it'll get into. If it's at a library, it could get into 10 more hands. People
Right.
read it, return it, read it, return it, read it, return it. And then they tell everybody that they know, oh man, you got to read this book. You got to read this book. You know? What I would really like to see beyond now is a formal investigator or formal a formal hmm, an investigator and maybe possibly a criminal trial attorney write a book on with a medical expert on all of this. Of course you can help all you want to, Anna. um all of these stuff analyzed by real professionals, and then a big ass book written and a movie made or a documentary or something like it. But when it's done by people who are not attached or tied to this case in any way, shape, or form, just new eyes on all of the evidence, the actual evidence, right? New eyeballs on it, and then produce what their thoughts are and their opinions. I would love that.
75th milestone reading set up on
Anna, that is so very sweet of you. If you would like to, you can reach out to me. You can message me if you like.
Pam, what do you think about doing a giveaway Sunday?
Absolutely. I'm down.
Because
Oh,
I
that would
know
be cool.
the one I ordered for GNT will be here Tuesday, so it really doesn't take a week to get to you. So, I mean, we can do a giveaway and see where it goes from there.
I know a lot of many of you know I live in the state of New Jersey, and I know a lot of people, especially very local to me, are really into true crime. It's just it's a big deal here. I'm not really sure why. It's just a thing. Or maybe it's like that everywhere, and I just don't notice that. You know, I only know around me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
it's
a lot of people dig this case, and true crime in general. And this book is so well done, and it feels very neutral while also um giving Dee Dee a voice and giving her grace and perspective. Um, Middle of the road, but also not, because the author is not stating that she's innocent either. And neither are we. We don't know. We don't know. But no matter fucking what,
No.
nobody deserves to be nearly decapitated and murdered in their bed. Period. Period.
100. That's right, Pam.
By their own daughter.
Right, in a place that they thought they were safe, their own home.
Right.
The safest places in the world.
Right, your own daughter brought this in your house.
That's right, Laura May.
Well, see, Anna, with youth organizations, I don't
Open
think,
that door,
in my
handed him a
opinion,
glove.
this isn't the kind of book that a young person should read. Because lack they lack
No, neither is
the
her.
development to process something this heavy. Ooh, online book clubs is a really great idea. In fact, that's a fabulous idea, because I know some local to me that are spread across like 4 counties around me. And I know people who run them. That's a really good idea. It's a really good idea. The local book clubs. Right. He's
I pray
unbiased.
this book makes it to the bayou.
Right.
I pray that anybody on the bayou gets to read this book and gets to see Dee Dee in a different light. Please, people, if anybody knew her, family, friends, please read this book.
Haley said, maybe send it to Ken.
Hey,
Open his eyes.
like we all.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
I wonder what would happen if we sent like a whole case of them to her PO box.
She'd probably
I
eat
sent a whole
them.
case of toothbrushes.
She'd probably like shred them up and put her in her little playpen thing that she has to sleep in. That way she doesn't get out at night.
College libraries is a really good idea too.
Yeah,
I know they have pretty strict approval, but that's a good idea. I live near two major universities.
About crime professors.
Hi, party.
Crime professors.
Use it as hay.
As far as getting into the court.
Hey, anybody who's reading it should like make a video of you reading what part that really hits you and stuff, and then share that out to other people. That's another way we can get it out too.
What's funny, Memento, is I screenshotted a few of the pages that I was reading because some of the paragraphs hit me so hard that I would like to reference some of the paragraphs in future posts. And I'm definitely going to be doing that, and that's going to be rough. That's going to fuck her days up, and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, and there's like specific lines that I've heard you say that really do stand out. That I think that people should put in all their videos too, to let people know. It's like, remember this, don't forget this. Just to really imprint it into their heads. It's like, look, this is the real thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that googly gremlin over there that likes to act like a 2-year-old. No, it's not.
No, ma'am, it's not. Haley, I'm not sure what you mean by your comment. It says, but I feel so bad for the little girl whose mother is a monster. I think that you mean for the real little girls whose mother is really a monster. See,
now.
and I think this case catches me hard because I was raised by a literal monster. Sure, I can't accuse her of the things that Gypsy accuses her mother of. Oh right. Hey, wow. Read that, you guys. I don't want to read it out loud, Haley, in case it's being recorded.
Yeah, we said, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's.
Wow.
Can y'all hear me? Or am I low?
Can you
Yes, I
even
hear you.
imagine what that's going to be like for that child to grow up? Good God Almighty. But yeah, I say often, I was raised by Satan. I never laid a hand on her. Never. Never, ever, ever laid a hand on her. Even as an adult, when I could have whooped her up and down, I never laid a hand on that woman. Ever. not once. I wanted to. I thought about it. Not, not, not harm her, just to defend myself. And I never ever did. Never ever did. Yeah. All Gypsy's worried about is everything she's been worried about her whole life. Attention. It's all about attention, positive or negative. She's used to only positive attention. So she calls people who challenge her narrative haters. Are you fucking 12? Haters? Fuck out of here.
And controlling the narrative.
I can't with her.
She wants everybody to think the way that she wants, not truthfully or with their own minds. Don't see that over there. Just listen to what I'm saying.
I think this book, for me, and I'm sure many of you, has reignited our purpose. And it's interesting because I was talking to someone recently that I wanted to, I don't consider myself a content creator. I am not monetized. I never, ever, ever intend to be monetized. I could give two flying fucks less because I do what I want and I say what I want, and TikTok doesn't like that. I've behaved for a while, and that it helped my account because I was like, for a long time, a whisper away from losing my account. And I have 7 others. I'm not really that worried about losing my account. And like I said, because I'm not monetized, I don't really care. I care about all of you. I care about reaching the public, and I care about putting the truth out there. That's what I care about. Whether or not somebody likes what I say or do, I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I can't tell you the immensity of the fuck I don't give. I really can't. I have been very blessed to make some real life friends on this app, and I am so beyond grateful for that. And my ladies are my ladies, and all of you who come here, you're my ladies too. And I appreciate you for being here and for your support and for just listening and sharing the word, you know. We'll get it out there as well as we can, and we're just gonna keep on going. And hopefully we'll go until we either push her off this space or until the entire public, the entire world knows what she's about and the narrative is corrected. And she can no longer push bullshit down people's throats and have it be believed. And on that note, y'all, I'm going to bed. I
Good
love you
night,
all.
Pam.
Have a great night. Tomorrow night, same place, 9:30.
100K.
Cece is going to do earlier for people who came in late.
Yes.
She's going to recap what time, Cece?
Um, we'll do 6:30 Eastern time. Be 7:30 Eastern time.
Wait, what?
Right.
6:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central?
No, 6:30 Central time.
Okay.
7:30 Eastern time.
Okay, gotcha. You all heard that, right?
Yep.
I'll make
So
a post for it.
We got the
if you're
100K look.
if you're
Yeah, we got it.
free, if oh, thank you. We reached 100K. Well, you guys are so special. Thank you.
We
My
thank you
fingers.
for doing the reading.
If you're free and you're just tootling around on TikTok, please support Cece's live, even if you were here for the whole night tonight. Maybe you can pop in, drop a heart, maybe show some support while you're scrolling around these messy motherfucking TikTok streets. It's always good to help support people, and your attendance and pushing it out helps other people be aware that she's live. And just give a little love and show some support.
We
Exactly.
appreciate it.
Just
All right,
clean up
y'all. Nighty night. Don't let the
Night.
bed bugs bite.
Good
Don't
night,
let the
y'all.
feathers
Thank y'all
tickle.
for the gifts. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you, Pam.
Yes. Thank
Love
you
you,
for
girl.
everything, everyone.
Love
Love you
you,
too, honey.
ladies. Good night.
Love you guys. Thank you, panel. Thank you, chat. Thank you, everyone.